What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I am the one and only Hypertension, joined by the fantastic Mr. Rebel Fox. How are you doing tonight, my good buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I am great. I've got 2 casts tonight, and this is the first one. I am so excited. I finally get to be casting 100 Thieves NEXT.
Yeah, it's honestly one of the better teams we have here in the league. Fortunately, also, you get to catch them against Horizon, another one of the best teams that we've seen in the league, and the only one that's really given them a challenge thus far.
Oh, yes. Both these two teams are already locked for the playoffs, as I believe our production will show the standings on the screen here in just a moment. The only situation in which Horizon can make a tiebreaker for first place is if they 2-0 100 Thieves NEXT tonight. But as we've seen in previous weeks, I think that will be quite the task.
That it will. It's going to be rather tough to see that come through from the side of Horizon. Obviously, they haven't lost a game yet, even on the side of 100 Thieves, but Horizon was the team that took them as far as they could in those 2 games they played against them previously. I think with some minor adaptations to the draft, maybe a much more definitive game plan, they could easily take at least a game, and it's just 150-50 from there to actually push this to a tiebreaker situation.
Yeah, and there appears to be echo for me for some reason. We apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We will get that fixed as soon as possible. But you talked about the tiebreaker situation. Look at Mountain.
Okay, Matt. Yeah, actually, tonight, Supernova plays Issue is Critical. A 2-0 from Supernova, if Snowman Slammers assumably beats Grandview Vikings, would make it a 3-way tie at the top of that standing. That would be an amazing little set of series to watch. There's 3 fantastic teams sitting in Mountain, and tonight is also going to be something big to watch. So.
Yeah, it would be absolutely fantastic. In that situation, for those of you who are wondering, it is if Supernova 2-0 Issue is Critical and Supernova Slammers 2-0 Grandview University, then it is a 3-way tie for first, with an immediate tiebreaker being played, and then the winning 2 teams going on into the playoffs. That's a group of death.
That is, all 3 teams at the top also deserve to be in playoffs. They're insanely talented teams pretty much across the way. Some earlier games in the season, obviously Supernova going through some of those roster changes, but they've definitely brought it back. It would be a shame to see any of these teams fall out because they're all just so good, but one of them doesn't get to go.
Absolutely, and I cannot wait to see if one of those teams get the chance to play one of these 2 teams from this group. People have said that this is one of the weaker groups because of the presence of Rise Black in particular. I know is one that people haven't really been excited about. Vital Point has shown their stuff in several games, but at the same time, I think this from the start was kind of a 2-team group.
That's true. Horizon looked definitely the part of one of the better teams. And of course, 100 Thieves, it's hard to bid against such a well-rounded, high ELO team coming in, especially backed by such an organization. So yeah, having that 2 pony start off for this bracket was pretty visual from the start. Of course, I think what some people wouldn't have expected is just Horizon not being able to contest for a game quite yet. So coming out this week and showing that they can at least take a game off 100 Thieves would be big for their playoff run.
Yes, and it does appear that my echo is gone. Awesome. I don't play that champion. But no, looking at this group, particularly with 100 Thieves, they have dominated this group thus far. I mean, other than those 2 games against Horizon, they have been unstoppable. They lead in KDA, top 3 in the entire league among collected stats, because there are still some games unrecorded, for the entire season, in every position. And top 3 in CSD and gold differential in in all of their carries being top, mid, and AD carry. It's insane the level of dominance that this team is able to establish.
Yeah, we've seen that come through. Not only individual positions seem to be better than their counterparts in just about every single game, but their macro play is what really solidifies them as not only the best in this group, but maybe the best in all of Upsurge that everyone's seen, because they're just unbeatable when it comes to that game. You said it last time. Last time they played Horizon, they were at early game deficits in both games, if I recall, and both times they ended up coming back because they were able to make it work with the way that their draft had been executed and the way that their macro was structured.
Yeah, and I very much liked seeing this team work, particularly in the way that there is that synergy in the team where they seem, as you said, they have that better macro. They seem more coordinated than do other teams. In particular, I like the way how there has been that ever-consistent bottom lane. With Otto and Poom, there has never been a game where they were the overlying reason for utter domination, but they have consistently never lost a lane, never really given up so many leads. So I like seeing that in particular in a meta where the scaling of the bottom lane can be so essential.
That's Correct. We actually see picks and bans started up here. The Yumi, the Senna being taken away from the side of 100 Thieves, I really like because they don't play either of those champions particularly well. Don't want to give them over Horizon and get that power. Same reason you see the Thresh banned out here, or in the first pick overall.
And the Ornn is extremely powerful right now. As we all know, the ornaments are basically just free gold and a bit statistics into the pockets of each of your teammates. And also it's in the hands of Tenacity, one of the more dominant top laners in the league. Now, one thing I will be interested in, as we said before, is the bottom laners here, because we see the Aphelios locked in for Asalon, who honestly has been one of the only people that can contest auto in terms of statistics. Thus far, he is actually the leader in KDA among bottom laners. He's the leader, I'll say he's third in gold per minute. He is number one in kill participation. He is, I'll say he's top 5 in kill share. Gold share, he's number 2. CS per minute, he's number 1. And everywhere near him, it's like him and then Auto just below him on every single source. That shows you getting him this power pick is pivotal for Horizon.
That it is. Getting him pressure in that bottom lane, of course. Again, 100 Thieves doesn't usually revolve around getting Auto ahead. That's part of it. But Horizon does usually like to play towards Facilion on this pick, and getting him the Aphelios early on, something he's very comfortable with. A phenomenal way to start. The Echo, also really good pick here for iStupid in the mid lane. One of their higher ELO players and somebody that can try to challenge copy with one of these roaming mid laners to put pressure across.
Yeah, and in particular, Echo will be sort of a negation because the Syndra is already banned. So if you are picking Echo, you already have a leg up on the majority of control mages. And if you lock this Braum here as Horizon, you have a leg up over the bullet time and over the Call of the Forge God. Because, I mean, we all know Rams just don't like walls.
No, they do
or
not.
Shields.
Or doors. Yeah.
Which is
the big one.
The funniest part about that interaction, that Braum counters Ornn because of the shield, is that Ornn actually made Braum's shield as a door. There was some troll king that made Ornn mad. It's like, oh, you want to be greedy about building this? All right, I'll make a door that not even you can open. So all your treasure is trapped in that mountain. You have no way of getting it. Sucks to be you.
Yeah, pretty important for that to occur, of course. And I think it's a really good pick. I also like that Horizon wasn't baited in taking it in second pick rather than in the third pick where they got it at, because if you take it second, you get priority on the Echo, you get priority on anything else. I don't know the 100 Thieves would have opted for that, but definitely with the Jarvan Misfortune up, they grabbed those 2 power picks. But the Echo going to Horizon, again, really big for that mid lane matchup and big for trying to roam around the map and get the rest of his team ahead. So I like that they go for the priority pick rather than the Braum. They're willing to give that one up potentially just so that they can get something that's maybe a little bit higher priority on their personal fit.
Absolutely, and I am incredibly excited to see how this will develop out as these ban phases are developing here. We do see that the Nautilus and the Gangplank were the bans for that second phase. The Fiora going away. I guess they thought that Ornn might be going to copy in the mid lane.
He does play it in the mid lane. I know he doesn't play it often, and I don't know how well he plays it in the mid lane, but I do know it is certainly flexible still, even after some of the changes that the Ornn has occurred. They didn't really touch down what made him very strong. Also really good at neutralizing something like the Echo, because it's hard to get aggressive in the mid lane with that.
Yeah, it can be extremely hard to get aggressive if you don't have the right matchup here. And by banning out the Aatrox, again, just pinching that top lane, because you don't want Undefeated One to have any sort of advantage at all over Tenacity. And it looks like Horizon might be trying to build a glacial composition here for those of you TFT players. I haven't played it in forever, so I don't know. Sejuani locked in. That is going to be good negation of the engage and good engage for the side of Horizon.
Correct. Now, on the other side, Trundle's still available. I don't know if they want to flex the Jarvan, but it's possible they can throw it into the top lane, something along those lines. Mordekaiser's the other pick I would definitely look at in terms of what they can find here for flexibility. If they want to put the Ornn in the mid lane, you know what they want for. Silas is what they grab. Okay, yeah, another one of those people to look at. And then support-wise, you're looking into Braum. I don't know if they want to go for Bard, but again, it would be a blind pick. Would be able to deny Echo or Sejuani engages, something along those lines. Just stall out the back line of like maybe Aphelios tries to follow up on one of these engages as well.
Yeah, I would very much like to see how this works out, because Silas, we haven't seen him much lately. Across the world, he's kind of just been ignored. I think he still does have a lot of potential as a skirmisher and a full AP burst mage, but his power as a bruiser has been decreased by a lot ever since those nerfs. So I think that's why people have started to move away from him. So that's definitely going to copy in the mid lane. That's definitely going to Poom at support will be the Rakan. So now the only thing left is undefeated one's top laner. Let's see when it will be locked in here. And if this is locked in, this is actually a very, very bulky composition from the side of Horizon, and not much tank busting by the side of 100 Thieves NEXT.
It would be a little bit difficult for them. Certainly, the Mordekaiser would be nice. It's a very low-range composition with Braum, Sejuani, Mordekaiser, Echo, but it's something they can make work, especially because, again, Sylas, Jarvan, Ornn, all melee, all like to get in your face, and then Rakan wants to dive in as well when he goes for his engage.
Yeah, I am very excited to see how this will develop out. We have, again, going from top to bottom for the side of 100 Thieves NEXT, Ornn, Jarvan, Sylas, Misfortune, Rakan, and for Horizon, it will be Mordekaiser, Sejuani, Echo, Aphelios, Braum. Again, looking at it, Horizon have actually done really well in this draft. I love the way that they have this set up, where this it has good engage, it has good disengage, it has good skirmishing, it's got great split pushing. Team fighting isn't bad, it could be a little bit better, but overall, this is not a bad draft by the side of Horizon Esports.
No, yeah, I think in my mind when I'm looking at these, 100 Thieves has built themselves what is essentially a picture-perfect team fighting composition. You've got Rakan, Jarvan, Ornn for the startup, for any of that engagement, and then Misfortune for the backup, the DPS, all of that kind of stuff, especially with that bullet time. On the other side, Horizon, they can team fight like that. They can play the front to back in certain situations, but you usually don't want to. Sejuani, Braum, Mordekaiser all have pick tools. Echo can zone people out with that bubble, prevent them from walking up, challenge Misfortune on the back line, and not allow Rakan to just go forward and try to get that same kind of engage you would normally want to. So I think Horizon's designed a really good composition to kind of counteract the pure 5-on-5 100 Thieves have wanted to try to run here.
Yeah, and with that pure 5-on-5, it does also come with a little bit of split pushing power, and you still will have a good 1-3-1 here because the Sylas is great in a split push, and the Ornn can split push purely because of his survivability, his ability to, have that extra damage with Brittle, which, by the way, does way too much damage right now. And in general, the ability for him, when he teleports in, he doesn't need to be anywhere near the fight because of the call of the Forge God. Sylas, Echo, and Mordekaiser need to be closer to the fight.
Yeah, the one thing is, again, Braum can get that kind of really long-range engage. Rakan could follow up on that. The Ornn ultimate, though, can be blocked by Braum, so you're not necessarily getting that same kind of Ornn engagement in the right situation. Of course, that does require the Braum shield to go up, prevent the Misfortune ultimate, but with Echo, again, with Mordekaiser, some of these guys can challenge that MF to make sure she doesn't just get to sit in any position she wants to throw that bullet time. There's possibility that the Braum can be a little bit more reckless with the shield to make sure that the Ornn ultimate doesn't come through. And then, of course, as you said, low-range composition, but then you have Jarvan has to get into the front line. Sylas is melee range. Rakan has to be melee range if he wants to engage. So you have those tools as well to kind of make sure that you can deny that initial engage and leave Misfortune stranded.
Yeah, I very much like both of these compositions. If I was just going to look at the compositions, not the players, I think that Horizon have an easier route to execution because of their denial tools that they have of what 100 Thieves want to do. However, at the same time, knowing the players, I think 100 Thieves probably have the coordination advantage. I think that they probably have the skill advantage as well, almost undoubtedly, because, again, copy, tenacity. For those of you that don't know, it wasn't Cat Evolved, it wasn't Julian or anybody like that who topped the Scouting Grounds ladder in terms of points for solo queue. It was this man in the mid lane for 100 Thieves. It was Copy. Tenacity was top 5 on the Scouting Grounds board. I believe he was just outside of it. And looking at the rest of the player, Otto, former Academy player, like these are great players on the side of 100 Thieves. And the question is now, will the better tools or will the better players win this game? That's what intrigues me.
Yeah, I think a large part of that will come down to how 100 Thieves, as you said, with all these talented players, execute their laning phase. Because in my mind, the Ornn, the Misfortune, Rakan, the Sylas, they all have laning phases that are capable of being won early on like a 50-50 or Premier Skirmishing. And of course, Sylas, the J4, they're a little bit more active than an Echo and a Sejuani could be, especially if the wave clear comes through. Sylas desperately needs a little bit of that wave clear. He needs that proto belt before he can start roaming like the Echo can. So Echo has to get very, very active early in the game. Whereas the Silas, once he has that protoball, can start working with the Jarvan for that skirmishing, challenging to 20, and moving to his side lanes. I think 100 Thieves has a little bit more of the ability to be proactive early on in the game. And so if they take advantage of that, as we've seen them do before, they're going to have the leg up for the 5-on-5, even with superior tools from Horizon.
Yeah, and I think that laning phase can be very pivotal, as you said. But on the flip side, that's not to say that there aren't any tools in the early game for the side of Horizon. I mean, Mordekaiser's landing phase can be oppressive as hell, and especially if you get caught in the death realm. I banish you to the shadow realm, Yugi.
Yeah, that's a pretty big fear here for most members. I actually want to, we could throw it back really quickly to something. I'm curious if 100 Thieves throws Silas in the top lane. I don't know if the matchup is a lot better for him into the Mordekaiser, but if they want better wave clear advantage, I know that it's possible for that to happen. I've
In
seen it happen
general,
before.
I believe not, because Silas as a character wants to be very in your face, even more so than some other assassins, particularly AP assassins, where that's all Mordekaiser wants. Is he wants you in his face. Like, I mean, the hand is literally designed to bring you in. The shield with so much protection from himself. The Death Realm keeping you in that Shadow Realm Thunderdome. It kind of is a really bad matchup for the Silas. I remember seeing there was a clip a while back on Reddit where it showed a Mordekaiser ulting someone and then a Silas ult coming through at the same time. They were and it ended up locking two people from the other team in to the point where it's like, wait, why am I here? Why are you here? What is going on? Why are there four people in the Shadow Realm?
Pretty
I hope
entertaining.
we get to see that today. Oh my god, I would love to see four people in the Shadow Realm today.
Like a chance. I mean, obviously, the Silas would be able to steal that ultimate. Would be pretty easy, especially if you're trying to deny the Echo access to the backline. It'd be an easy tool to do that.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, another thing about saying about this situation is 100 Thieves NXT are coming in with a coach who, at least publicly, was just announced being Fallen Bandit.
I'm sorry.
I think, yeah, 100 Thieves NXT just announced their coach this week being Fallen Bandit.
Pretty impressive. I do like seeing a lot of those coaches that are popping up that used to be players. I think we saw also, what was it? The ex jungler for
Moon.
yeah, Moon. Moon got announced as one of the coaches as well for Radiance, I think it was.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, pretty cool to see some of those players start to step in and start to support some of the lower level, amateur level teams to give them a little bit more guidance, give them some more insights on the upper level gameplay stuff.
Yeah, I mean, guys, any LCSs you're watching, we'd love to have you. It would be fantastic to have you here. Not biased at all. Hypertension here, but in all seriousness, I think it's really good to bring in that coach, have that new team. But we are going into into the game really soon. So very quickly, is there any last words you want to say before we go into game?
I don't think so. Yeah, just excited to see game one between 100 Thieves and Horizon. I think Horizon have given themselves a great chance to win.
There we go. All right. Well, we're about to go into the game, ladies and gentlemen. I believe there will be a short break, and then we'll be right back. And we're here on to Summoner's Rift, ladies and gentlemen, for game one between Horizon Esports and 100 Thieves and EXT. Once again, I am Hypertension, joined by Rebel Fox on the blue side. It is the #1 seed in the group, 100 Thieves and EXT, with Tenacity in the top lane, Kenvi in the jungle, Copy in the mid lane, Auto 80 carry, and Poom at support.
And on the red side, we have Horizon Esports, undefeated one in top lane Stone within or Whiteman in that jungle. I Stupid in the mid lane, Asilion at ADC, and TSM at plus X, X plus at 4.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call him Plux because I feel like it's
Fine.
like no, TSM isn't here. No, they played yesterday. Well, no, I'm sorry. What was it? Academy that played yesterday? I don't remember.
I'm
Minions
not
have spawned.
We're fine
Either
with it.
way, just looking at it, and it does look like these teams are setting up with a very uh, easygoing, very passive start, trying to make sure that nobody tries anything cheeky here. And just looking at the map, which lane do you think is going to be the most impactful in this early game? Which one do we need to have our closest eye on?
I really think it's the mid lane. Again, I think iStupid can get very aggressive early on if he has the wave clear advantage over Silas after a lot of the changes that he went through early. And he can be aggressive, he can dive towers, and especially skirmish in the river alongside this Sejuani. There's plenty of CP there. But again, the individual strengths of the Jarvan and the Silas feel a little bit stronger in that sense. They don't want to run into the mid-jungle duo. They more so want to put pressure on the bot lane or the top lane if possible, so they can get the Mordekaiser rolling or get their Helios rolling as Cillian can super important.
Yeah, and it does look like they will get that first steal away of the red buff. And so it opens up a situation where Stone Whippin might actually be able to put on this level 1 gank, level 2 gank here. Copy does use that engage to go back in. Gonna get hit up by the permafrost. I don't think they quite have the damage to kill him off, though. There is no ignite to be put down, so Copy is just going to have to lane now with a lot less HP.
And he will. It's going to be rough. Of course, once he gets the access to the W, could reprieve some of that damage that is being dealt. Also still has the Biscuits of Everlasting Life. Instead, it was the Minion Dematerializer chosen by iStupid. Again, probably looking for roam. So has a lot of those tools to be able to sustain himself back up. Still good little play from Stone White. And also nice from Copy not to burn that flash ahead of time, knowing he'll have the sustain to get through.
Yeah, very good restraint from the mid laner of 100 Thieves NXT, but it looks like the side of Horizon have tried to scout them out. They have tried to, establish some sort of game plan here in this early game. That level 1 thing, it's too cleanly set up there to just be coincidence or just be an on-the-fly call.
Definitely rather impressive to see that come through from this team. Not willing to, not passive up against one of the better teams in the league. Certainly, showing their teeth, maybe taking the first punch in the series. Got to appreciate that from Horizon Esports. Not willing to be complacent and just let the team fighting competition kind of take over the game. A little invade, though, from Envy, getting him in the his second blue buff now.
Yeah, this is an interesting situation here because Stone Whippin took both red buffs, Kenvi took both blue buffs. If I'm not mistaken, Jarvan prefers the red, doesn't he?
When he's early ganking, and especially in clearing, also very helpful. Something I know is he does have the Skirmisher Shaver, so he was likely going towards that more ganking heavy style. In fact, most people, there it is right there. So he's going more for the gank heavy style. Having the red buff is nice for early ganks and for early drilling, but he knew he was pushed out of that red buff area, so he doesn't mind just trading the double buff for the double buff. Also gets first back off here, so he's going to be able to clear pretty quickly. Also gets a really nice pathing, so he went from his all the way up to his wolves, went to solo wolf start, and now he's going to be able to clear top or bottom and top in a really efficient path from Stone White, and that's really, really nice for him to be able to try to affect top lane just.
Yeah, very much so. I also like, on the flip side, though, the vision of, the denial vision put down by 100 Thieves NEXT. Look at that top river. It's going to be hard to establish any pressure on that top lane because you're going to be spotted out so far in advance. As one of the wards does die, it's going to be up onto Tenacity to get one out. So iStupid went super low.
They did. Looks like he thought that Stone White was going to come a little earlier than he did and took a massive trade from Coffee in that mid lane. I believe the Corrupting Potion charge was also used late by Copy, so some of that trade damage might have been a factor. Also, some of the sustain might have been a factor. Of course, that W from Silas also giving him plenty of health, so probably much better in the duel early on. Again, if it were me, I would just be playing the wave clear advantage here.
Yeah, playing the wave clear advantage, but speaking of advantages, that's going to be a health advantage now in the bottom lane for Horizon as that action floated down there. Lots of damage onto Poom and onto Otto. Those Winter's Bites, they're doing a lot of work here. So that's going to be the Gravitum lockdown. Now Poom engages in on top of Plux, who does take an Ignite and a couple shots. That's going to be Stone Whippin going in. Look at the teleport from behind. Copy is in. So is Kenvi. They are here. This is going to end up being a 4v4 here. Teleports from both mid laners as Copy now trying to exit, as is the entire side of 100 Thieves NEXT. Only one gets stunned up by the Parallel Convergence, and no kills are going to be obtained throughout that fight.
That was a really, really far away. It took a while for that set play to get set up. It looked like Sejuani was coming down early, wasn't able to get the right angle because the push back from Otto and Poom in under their tower was too hard to gank. And then, of course, the follow-up from Jarvan wasn't able to get onto Braum with the TP from Silas. The minion wave was too big for his chain to hit anybody, so they did a great job disengaging and a lot of the waves were in a much better position for 100 Thieves, so they end up with a massive gold advantage that might be on.
Yeah, iStupid taking a good bit of damage here, but there is a lot more HP on Kenvi, so it's going to be iStupid needing to retreat. Kenvi just bullying him out of his own jungle.
That's a pretty nice place to be. Or the Jarvan just trying to put more pressure on this Echo. I still think the wave clear advantage was really big for him, being able to push him out of that mid lane and get this Sylas earlier access to some of his itemization will help with his roam potential.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see how that Echo will start doing in that level. I would say about 5 to, sorry, not 5 to 6, 6 to 11 period, because that's when you like to see the Echo start to roam the most. He's got the Chrono Break at that point. He's got a couple points into the Time Winder, so a lot of his damage is actually available. Stone Whippin', though, is hanging around here in this mid lane. Lots of damage out from that passive. Looks like that there's going to be nothing coming out of it, though.
Stone Whippin' doing a really, really heavy job just sticking around the mid lane, making sure that iStupid feels safe during the lane phase. Again, Sylas, a really good brawling champion to be able to fight the Echo constantly. Echo not playing to that pure wave clear advantage that you would have earlier on in the game, and because of that, just getting bullied off. So a lot of time spent by Sejuani, starting to get outfarmed by the Jarvan as well, has pretty much a full jungle to go for here, with Whipen missing a couple of his camps.
Yeah, and one thing I would like to point out here is that even the Ornn is handling his own up at the top lane, but now in the mid lane, Copy, that's a lot of trouble. That's going to be the Flash and the Arctic Assault. Can Copy manage to escape? He has no Flash. He has no prayer. First blood to iStupid.
Really nice. Again, just constantly wanting the fight against Echo. He's never willing to actually fight in the top lane as well.
Whoop, hey, hold up, before we go to a replay, Tenacity and Undefeated One fighting in the top lane. That's a solo kill for the Undefeated One.
Pretty rough to deal with. Look on replay, but again, this is the initial play. Nice Q flash here from the Sejuani, gets stunned up and then throws her ultimate and grants the kill over to iStupid. Again, hanging around this lane is now finally benefited, and of course the Orange just pushed too far up, can't take the Mordekaiser matchup. As you were saying, Mordekaiser loves when a champion stays in that range, and in my mind, the Orange does a good job of brawling from that range, unless you're getting good poke down from Mordekaiser. That's why I suggested maybe the Sylas with the E and the chain to try to escape something like that might not be like a non-viable option here, especially with Echo being able to take the wave clear advantage. Obviously, seeing some of the punishment come down into the solo lanes, not what you want from 100 Thieves. Now the Echo getting towards the Proto Belt, the Mordekaiser likely going for the Leandry's first item will really make this laning phase hard for the solo lane.
Now, there is one very niche build I have seen on the Echo that I don't think is actually going to be built here, but I think that we could see. It's one of those that it's kind of more for a split pushing build. I have seen Gunblade Echo used for a primary split pushing build in a matchup when he has the increased wave clear over his opponent. So with that Hextech Revolver, I think we could see that, but it is most likely the Proto Belt.
Yeah, I've seen Nashor's Echo too as something that really loves to split push and loves to 1v1. I don't know that this is the game for it because Sylas, as he gets later in the game, as he gets his items, especially if he goes Proto Belt into Ludens, there is no way that the Echo will outwave clear him just because he has a lot of those abilities. Nice E from Top right there.
Yeah, managed to get out of the parallel convergence in an easy amount of time, but he also has to make sure that he avoids the Chrono Break Ghost because that damage on the Chrono Break is nuts if you've never played against Echo. It's actually absurd.
Actually, if he's staying in relatively the same position, he also has the Ghost, so if Echo activates him to do damage, he just activates him on top of it, and the only one that takes damage is unfortunately iStupid, which would be a funny interaction. Of course, Sylas is going to be moving around with that E and that chain, so I don't know if we'll see something like that. But certainly, with double Echo ultimates, I don't expect to see much in terms of all-in from either of these two.
Yeah, and the fact that Copy got a blue buff this early is actually really big for him because of how mana-hungry Sylas can be in terms of keeping up with the wave clear.
That's the Undefeated One going at it, and top lane Ignite went down.
Yeah, and that ultimate does remove you from the map, therefore it removes the ramp from your ability to do it. And that, yeah, as you said, Kenvi is here. That's a lot of damage coming out onto Undefeated One. Flag and drag not there. The Ornn is going to get the heck out of dodge. Undefeated One is going to be right into dodge. Cataclysm going to take the kill. Kenvi's now in a lot of trouble though. Stone Whippin' going to see what he can do. He gets one of them already. Kenvi goes down. Permafrost locked in, unstoppable by the way, so Tenacity will survive, and that is going to be a 1-for-1 in the top lane.
Stone Whippin' just been a fantastic little play around the map, being able to rotate so quickly and counter gank, protect his solo lanes here. as they get just aggressed onto Kenji. I thought was in a really advantageous situation. Opts for the safe EQ at the front end of that fight. Didn't hit him with either, but protected against the retreat route to start with. But I think that actually ended up costing him because Undefeated One then flashes back and gets the 1-for-1, and also pressured towards this Rift Herald because of the earlier roam from the Cillian TSM Flux, because of the pressure they put in the bot lane to push out that wave. Really, really nice rotations from Horizon to start this game.
Yeah, and it's going to net them the Rift Herald as well with this lane swap that it does not appear 100 Thieves have spotted out. Look at the flank also coming from the Braum. This is going to be a very interesting situation for 100 Thieves NEXT as the Rift Herald gets summoned in the top lane alongside Nephelios. That tower's already below 2 plates. This could likely be first break there, but in the bottom lane, Undefeated One gets defeated by Otto. And even if they get first tower here, it's going to be traded out, but first break does go over to Horizon.
Yeah, really nice. I think this whole game design thus far has been to protect the solo lanes to start with, and then to start to put resources into Asilion. Asilion had a lot of early warding to protect that laning phase to make sure that the Kenvi couldn't punish it. You saw that in the dive bot lane, or the 4v4 in the bot lane to start with, and this rotation now gets him first tower, as you say, first brick for himself to get all of that extra tower gold, and it's a really nice place to be. So they're going to rely on Asilion, and because of the early pressure that's been put on by this Edge 20, I Stupid and Undefeated One feel perfectly fine in the solo lanes in that 1-3-1 that you would you were alluding to during that drafting phase. I love the game plan here from Horizon. They're going out there executing it very early on. You might just be catching 100 Thieves sleeping. And
yeah, and remember, you said pumping all the resources into Asilion. Asilion is actually the #1 AD carry statistically in the Upsurge Premier League. He's got the highest KDA, the highest CS per minute, I believe, the highest gold per minute. All of those stats that you really want to lead, he is leading in them. So this is a guy that can carry your team on his back, and especially on a champion as strong as the Aphelios.
that is correct. With this Conqueror also, when he has a little bit of that
I didn't even see that.
Yeah. Wait, what?
I didn't even see that he had Conqueror. I'm not a fan of that.
There's 3 runes that I see on Aphelios. That's Press the Attack, Conqueror, and then Lethal Tempo. It kind of depends from player to player what you'd like to see. In my mind, Conqueror is used mostly when you're trying to play front to back and when you're trying to be the main carry. So, like, you know, when Caitlyn builds a mob Malmortius and she wants to be the pure frontline threat, actually, I'll mention that.
Speaking of frontline, Kenvi is in the front line of the entire side of Horizon. He takes so much damage, goes low. Lunar Vigil, that's going to take him down. One more kill over to the side of Horizon, and again, they are challenging 100 Thieves NEXT. This LCS development team, and now Otto in so much trouble. Manages to dodge out the parallel convergence. He has to watch the Echo Ultimate. Here it comes. That's so much damage back, though. That's the Timeliner. Not going to be able to kill, not going to be able to catch. I Stupid burned everything in that trade. Otto still has Flash.
Does push Otto off the bottom tower for the most part, or at least he cannot contest for the dragon if a re-engage were to come through. That solo play from iStupid, using the flash, not really beneficial, not going to help him out in some of these games, but I love the fact that if they were to challenge, the MF was necessary to try to look for that Drake, and now 2, including the Mountain, going the way of Horizon Esports. So while, yes, expenditure of the flash not great for iStupid, they were able to keep the potential of that challenge completely out of favor for this.
Yeah, and I really do love the pace that Horizon have set up this far this game. They know that individually they might be outmatched, but they are setting it up with superior game planning and macro play. Thus far, whoever is coaching Horizon should be very proud of themselves right now with the way that they have beat this into the heads of their players about this game plan and what needs to be done. I love seeing this from teams like Horizon.
Yeah, again, before the game had even started, I knew they had to come in with some sort of definitive game plan, and they obviously have it right now, able to play kind of cleaner, make sure nothing's come through. Most importantly, I think Stonewifin, somehow he's been able to stay ahead of Farm of Envy. I know that wasn't the case for most of the game, but somehow being able to farm alongside the Jarvan, while also simultaneously out-pressuring him pretty much across the map, protecting his solo lanes, and getting that vision down for his ADC, he's just been playing miraculous.
Yeah, and one person I'm looking to see is, I haven't really seen Poom have that much of an impact in this game. You kind of expect the Rakan to have, you know, those early participations in these sort of fights, in these sort of engages, in the early phases, and he's just not been there. There's just been nothing for him to go in on. Horizon are doing a great job of eliminating Poom from the fights, eliminating him from situations where he can have an impact.
Correct. Yeah. And again, that control on the bottom side of the map with the early warding coming through from Sage 20 and then TSM Flux was able to secure that. Like, even if he gets out of that lane, they're able to spot him out well ahead of time to know that that's coming. And there's been so much pressure in the mid lane between just the 2 junglers. just haven't had the opportunity to roam on the Recon. Again, as this game starts to collapse more towards skirmishing, I'm not going to say 100% that Horizon is the weak composition, especially since they're pretty much even in gold, but certainly with things, all this engage that can come through, if the Braum shield doesn't go up perfectly, you could see big team fights or big skirmishes come through from 100 Thieves still, so you're not out of the woods yet if you're Horizon, but the way their early game's going, I hope they continue to execute on this game plan they've got.
Yeah, and then there is always the Cataclysm into Grand Entrance into Bullet Time combo. That can also be the Moonlight Vigil from Copy, or even a Glacial Fissure from Copy.
Yeah, anything from Copy. Yeah, a lot of those abilities, just a ton of the AoE damage could come through, put him through. Heck, he could just jump into the Cataclysm and start throwing out those AoE autos along with the AoE abilities that he's got, and it would be more than enough for him to put out a lot of damage, especially with the Photo Belt. If he gets a little bit of Magic Pen as well, could really start to become a massive... The Jarvan could operate as like the Cataclysm setup, so he could just duel anybody he wants by throwing them into the Cataclysm and letting Silas jump the wall.
Yeah, the Cataclysm would be the catalyst for the start of the fight.
Good one. Catch. Like
Absolutely. And another thing that you can do if you are with that Silas is you can try to disrupt the Braum, so that way the Call of the Forge God does go through for the side of 100 Thieves NEXT. You can see about displacing the Braum as it comes through.
Yeah, I like Copy playing this kind of, like, this return pressure champion, where if you see a massive 5-person engagement coming through, you take the Sejuani ultimate or the Braum ultimate, you throw it into the team, you deny that one. If it's a dive coming through from Echo or from Stone White and onto his carry, especially Auto, you throw the Mordekaiser ultimate down, and then he's not able to do anything. And then, of course, if you need additional damage, or if you just want to dive yourself to the Silas, big.
Here we go. That's going to be the Bullet Time end of the Cataclysm used, but it was all blocked out by that Glacial Fissure. Right now, Poon is in too deep. Undefeated One is in the Death Realm. Who all is with him? I'm not sure. It looks like everyone is in the Death Realm here. TSM Flux is going to be the first one to die. Undefeated One going to get defeated here. Here comes Parallel Convergence. It does stun up as the re-engage was massive by the side of Horizon. But Auto, he is still alive. The triple knockup. Bounce house like a freaking bouncy ball. Was I stupid? He dies off to Tenacity, having to flash out. Copy, Kenby, and Poom running away. So low health, but 100 Thieves NEXT turning around that fight.
Man, I don't know how much closer that could have been for Horizon to just break loose and start winning fights in that one. Just a small amount of damage from iStupid would have killed Auto there, would have been the difference in that fight. Fortunately, not able, or unfortunately, not able to get them for themselves. Also, Astillion used that Moonlight Vigil very early on to try to dissuade the fight. If he had that for later on, he would have might have been able to clean up, especially with that cluster of 3 members at very low health. That was such a good, well-played fight from both sides, especially 100 Thieves. Again, I think every member was below, like, a couple hundred health at the end of that fight. It was such a close engagement between the two, and that continues. Again, Horizon Esports not looking too bad in this one. The superior composition. That Cataclysm and the Bullet Time went out first. They weren't able to make that completely successful.
No, they were not. And now I'm interested to see if we, as I know we can't get a replay at the moment because of this dragon fight about to come out, but in a bit I would love to see the replay of that fight as a whole. And look at Copy, he's on the backside. It's going to be the engage coming in from the side of Horizon. That's a great knockup onto 3, but there's no follow-up onto it. Copy does steal the Glacial Fissure here. Poom in the front line. Call of the Forge God does get blocked out by the Unbreakable. So right now it is the side of Horizon running away. They're looking to counter-engage, but the question is, do they have anything left in the tank? All those key ultimates are burned. Poon goes super low, as that's going to be the engage on the back line. Astalon is dead! Astalon is dead! That's going to be 1 kill off, traded onto Kenby. Will the side of Horizon be able to take this out? That's going to be a lot of CC coming down, but Plux dies off. Another trade of kills here. Everyone is dying left and right and center. There is no ability to stay alive for either team. Undefeated One going to pop out of the Death Realm just in the face of Copy. He's going to heal up just a little bit, but now Copy and Undefeated One both going to walk away 4 for 3 in favor of Horizon.
Nice little engagement, and once again, 100 Thieves, they tried a Cataclysm, they tried the engagement to start the fight off, and they don't land it. The Bullet Time did basically nothing in that fight. They wasn't able to do much else there. We're going to see a replay of that one. But a third Drake now going the way of Horizon was really good. Again, watch, the initial engagement there. The Cataclysm went down, wasn't able to get much. Astillion went down, but his damage was pretty much done. The Moonlight Vigil came out, and then the rest of the fight, Mordekaiser comes in and does so much here. Stone White can damage. Stupid able to get quite a bit too, but it's Undefeated One coming on the backside of the fight that really tore through and was able to get everything done for this team. Really, really well played by him on the flank. But again, importantly, the initial fight, the one with the ultimate coming through from Misfortune, did almost no damage.
Yeah, it did. I mean, that is one thing I'm getting criticized about this game, is the fact that his bullet times have been lackluster, to say the least. There haven't been in clumps, or they've been always in the face of plucks. You have to be able to get someone open and to start putting those down on top of iStupid, on top of Undefeated One, on top of Asalon, without plucks being in the way. So, with that in mind, how are they going to set up this next fight? Because the Baron appears to be the next big objective, but look at this. They're going to try and engage onto the Echo here. Copy and Kenby, they have the movement advantage here. The stun comes in, but it doesn't actually land onto Kenby. That's going to be the chrono break here, but Copy still has it as well. That is a huge ultimate burn if they want to set up the Baron here in the next few minutes.
Yeah, relatively simple to get out of that one for iStupid with that ultimate. A lot of burnt there from both sides. So really nice. Again, as you were talking about just before, or at least alluding to right before this, setting up the fight for this team, I don't know that either team is actually looking to engage, because it seems like whoever engages ends up losing quite a bit. Otto has been playing, again, as you said, very predictively instead of or just trying to find the optimal time to throw the bullet timeout. So I think he needs to focus more on throwing autos into the front line, into Stonewhip and into Undefeated One. Try to get the QSS pretty quickly so he's capable of doing that. Then look for an opportunistic bullet time instead of trying to start the fight off with that, using it for a pick, because you do have a really good team fight from the side of 100 feet. You don't need to get that damage out really quickly and push them off. You just got to use it in a situation that's very beneficial for your team, and so far hasn't been fun.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good idea there to start out by pumping out your damage and then worrying about the bullet time as a secondary way of pumping it out. I think very good idea there, and if they can do that, I feel like it should be able to shred down Stonewhip, who is the main detractor of these fights. He's 4-1-3. He's got the Stone Plate. He's got the Cinder Hulk. He has so much health, and that Braum Shield is in the wrong way. That's the bullet time you needed. It's shredding down Stonewhip, it's shredded down Flux and Asalon. Stonewhip is gone. Oh. That's just the 20 dead, but the turn is absolutely phenomenal from Horizon. They lock down Tenacity. It's going to probably be a 1-for-1 here, I think. No, Undefeated One gets it off, and that's going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of Horizon once again.
They stacked so heavily to be able to start that fight. Again, Kenby, Tenacity, they're all getting in the same place. Copy in the same place as well. All stacking up in the same fight. They're all melee range. Boom in the same place. All four of them going to the same location to try to punish Stone with it. But as Cillion has a lot of damage, you're going to be able to see that most likely in a replay here. But yeah, Cillion just absolutely destroys them when they're clustered. Watch this fight. So the Braum Shield does come out. I think if he had walked more forward, he would have blocked that. The bullet time does a bit of damage, forces the flash from the Cillion. But here's all four members. They're all stacked. Boom like Vigil. It's four members. And then he has the Infernium for the backup fight. And he tears everybody in this one. I also think at the end here, the stolen kill from Undefeated One, pretty unfortunate. The Cillion really does need it. But again, when they're clustering that close together, if the Infernium, and especially when the Runaan's comes out, there's a terrifying champion to do that in.
It absolutely is. And again, we talked about it. It is in the hands of statistically the best AD carry in the UPL. Again, I don't think he actually is, because I think there are some phenomenal players, but in terms of statistics, in terms of how they have performed and how pivotal they are to their team, Cillion is basically the most important AD carry to his team in the UPL because of his damage output and everything he can do on this kind of champion.
Absolutely. Relying on him pretty heavily for some of this team fighting. Again, Horizon done a miraculous job just being able to pull this one to a state where they feel like they can continue to fight. I think Undefeated One is having a really nice game. Now with Leandries and the stopwatch for himself, and then the Naster is completed, he can walk through a fight, but he can also just pull out any important members that you absolutely need to. No QSS is done, only the one here for Otto, so now he should feel more comfortable.
Yeah, here's the engage. They're trying to get onto Asalon, but again, the Moonlight Vigil comes down. That's a lot of CC, a lot of knockup. Asalon goes low, and he's going to be on the other side of the fight. The Unbreakable was already used. He gets picked off by the Call of the Forge God. Undefeated One has to go golden to avoid dying here. He's going to get popped here in just a second. That's the Flash Auto. No fear on this AD carry. This is the big man on campus wanting to show what he's worth. The former CLGA AD carry manages to flash in and pick up Undefeated One. That is a 3-for-1 in favor of the 100 Thieves.
And it's all the Unbreakable. It's all up to Flux here to be able to deny that engagement. Had Orn not been able to hit that ultimate, we're going to be able to get that one. Yeah, the Infernal Fury denied here from the Horizon Esports Thieves, or at least prevents one more Drake and giving the Infernal Soul, but you're going to see this fight again. Asilion gets very far up. You're going to see them get damage on him, but he does a pretty good job of fighting backwards in this particular fight. Doesn't have the perfect gun for it, but then here comes the Ornn ultimate. You're going to see it hits him on the front end, then doesn't get blocked. There is nothing. The ultimate comes out from bomb a little late. He dies, and now you don't have team fight damage whatsoever. Undefeated one also on the front instead of anybody else to soak damage because everybody else had already taken too much. And the follow-up is just going to be there. The E came out from Mordekaiser at the end. I think actually ended up killing his jungler as well. But there's no other follow-up yet. You need a Asilion in the fights, or you need Undefeated one in the fights in order to succeed. And again, Flux is the big reason why you'd be able to do something like that. First good fight here from 100 Thieves, able to end quite a bit.
I hate to interrupt at the end there, but iStupid dies off on the side, and this means that the side of 100 Thieves feel like they're comfortable to go for Baron, but instead it is Copy. It is a trade of mid laners there, basically a 1-for-1.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate. Both mid laners just getting a little too over-aggressive. And pressure can be pushed back now because all of the resources, all the vision had been expended by 100 Thieves to get forward pressure onto this Baron. Now going to have to back off after that Dragon. Now the pressure is going to go the opposite direction. You have all ultimates up on all these members, and you still have the core of your team fight. You have the Braum, you have the Aphelios, and then you have the Sejuani Kifi coming into pit at the Echo.
Yes, the Echo, he has teleport. There is no teleport on Copy. Undefeated one taking a lot of damage here, and Poom is probably the only member that can actually avoid him for the entire damage, I'd say for the entire duration of the Death Realm. The knock up there, Undefeated one is in the backside, a tower falls somehow, and now this could actually be a one fight for the side of 100. They still whip it, goes so low. Great bullet time from Otto. Double kill for the Ornn of Tenacity. He's going in, he wants everything. The blue team, the team of 100 Thieves NH team, they take the Baron, they take the life of iStupid, they take Horizon down, and they are not even close to done. Poom wants more. He wants Plux's life, but it is Kenvi who's probably going to get it here. Asilion and Otto in the face of one another. That is yet another kill for Tenacity, and Kenvi cleans it up. The ace for the 100 Thieves next.
This is another point that you have to make about 100 Thieves is their cohesiveness in fighting is always absolute. And you're going to see that absolutely on display right here. They just took this game from essentially even to now a massive advantage. But you see, Undefeated one just came out of Ultimate, and no one's there to support him at all. They're all still on the Baron. They got to make that call ahead of time. The Ultimate for Misfortune, of course, not blocked by the door whatsoever, so there's nothing there. Asilion has to kite so far back, still doesn't have his flash available from 2 fights ago, and everybody just gets picked off one by one by one. The Baron went away. You're going to see the continuation here. But again, all of this could have been probably abated if they had either A, turned off the Baron for the fight, or Undefeated one walked back towards the Baron pit.
Yeah, we do have a pause here, unfortunately, in this game, ladies and gentlemen. We will get back to the action as soon as we can. But we talked about before how the side of 100 Thieves NXT have the superior team fighting composition. They have so much big AoE ultimates that they can chain together. And when you have one tool on the side of Horizon that is focused around denying all of it, if that tool is used early, like it was in that last fight, it renders it ineffective, and those things that you're trying to deny so much better, being the bullet time and the Call of the Forge God, which were heavily able to impact that because the Unbreakable was down.
Yeah, I feel like really heavily. It's very rare that I would say this about a team composition, but Horizon needs to play reactively. They need to say, what is going to come at us from 100 Thieves? Because 100 Thieves has the superior team fighting, so they're going to be able to always win those pure 5-on-5 engagements. So if you're on the side of Horizon, you don't say, how do we out-team fight them? How do we start fights better than them? You say, what are they bringing at us? They're bringing the bullet time, they're bringing the Cataclysm, they're bringing the Ornn Horn, and they're bringing Boom jumping into the team. How do we deny all of those things? The first parts of the game, that immediate section of the game, they were playing very defensively, and the fights were going even or even in their favor. But recently, they've been taking the fight to 100 Thieves, and they can't be doing that because they're wasting those resources. The Mordekaiser ultimate in the last fight, you saw the Braum shield in a couple of different fights, and when those are used too quickly, that gets exploited by the side of 100 Thieves. Those little mistakes are absolutely things that you cannot give. You give an inch, you give a mile, and now you see 7,000 gold advantage for the side of 100 Thieves just from those few mistakes.
Yeah, and at this point, the game has been broken wide open for 100 Thieves NXT. They have the tower advantage. They have the gold advantage. As you said, about 7,000 here. That is a 7-3-9 Ornn with 2 ornaments already. There's another ornament on Otto. He's got 3 items and his QSS. This is basically now turned into 100 Thieves NXT's game to lose.
That it has. And they've been waiting for this the whole time. I think Horizon, when they kicked off the series with such an impressive set of fights, such an impressive just game plan, it looked really good for them. But again, I feel like they've now swayed from their game plan very heavily. When they did, it was taken advantage of by 100 Thieves, and it's very hard to stop this ball rolling. This is just first Baron, and they're already cracking the base here. That's, again, not always expected, but of course, with the way that this game has been going, 100 Thieves certainly taking advantage of their opportunity now.
Yeah, and one thing about that is that the best laid plans can only get you so far. I mean, how can you really plan 20 minutes into a game of League of Legends? They had the first 15 minutes planned out great, but after that, that is when things start to fall apart, and that's going to be an engagement by Stone Whippin. The Glacial Fissure does catch there. Good bullet time by the side of 100 Thieves NEXT. They are destroying Horizon thus far in this fight. One dead already. Stone Whippin dies. Double kill for Otto. He's going to try for more. I Stupid goes low. Triple kill for Otto. Are they going to try and give him the pentakill? That's the quadra kill for Otto. Can the man do it? Come on, give it to the Pirate. Don't run, undefeated one. Otto trying to get in. This is worth the flash, man. This is worth it. No, give this man the penta. Otto coming in. He has caught undefeated one. One more attack will do it. Penta kill for Otto. And that'll be game one for the side of 100 Thieves and EXT.
Really quick, can I ask you, who started that fight? That's right, it was Horizon Esports. What are you doing? I just explained you have to know what your composition can do. You can't be looking for proactive engages. Give this dragon, soak the damage. You hadn't lost an inhibitor yet. You don't have to worry. The waves aren't going to crash. I really don't think it was necessary for them to fight there or for most of these fights. They didn't have to get aggressive when they had a small advantage or no advantage. They just stopped realizing what they needed.
Yeah, and I think Otto heard me talking about how like he was the guy. It's like you never really I've not seen him like pop off super hard and like carry the game in these series, and how Asilion is supposed to be like the statistically best AD carry in the UPL. I think he was like, "Yo, I heard you was talking crap." Just pokes his head through the window. It's like, you were saying something. But no, why don't we take a look back? So apparently we have the pentakill on replay. Why don't we take a look back at the start of that fight and just see how it went? As you said, it was the side of Horizon who started up that fight, but they're so far behind and there's so much damage on Otto that they cannot seal the deal.
The other big thing is Coffee used the Mordekaiser ultimate to drop iStupid. iStupid could have given good follow-up and good CC to this team, but wasn't able to get in there because, of course, he was stuck in the Death Realm. And without anybody else really there, so much damage soaked by the rest of the team. It was Asilion going down or getting pushed up the back. Like, this was the chase down, of course. It was just Otto working his way through the team as absolutely necessary. It was well played by him. But again, the fight didn't need to happen that way. You don't have to get that aggressive on the Sedge 20. The Braum was able to block the one ultimate, but when you attack from multiple directions, which 100 Thieves finally figured out how to do, you just see the amount of damage that Otto can pull out.
Yeah, and with that in mind, we're going to be going to a break here in a little bit after a quick ad read, but everybody needs to be thinking about, where does Horizon go from here? First place is now out of your reach. 100 Thieves have solidified first place, and if they go the entire first half of the split, I'll say the entire split undefeated, they, I believe, will actually secure first place in terms of overall group seeding, because I believe the only other completely undefeated team might be Orglis. They might have dropped one game. Allow me to double check that real quick, because I actually have that pulled up right here. And sorry, Google Docs loading. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Drumroll, please. Actually, no. Orglis have lost one game, so 100 Thieves NEXT would be the #1 overall seed in the Upsurge Premier League if they win this next game.
Yeah, important for them. Now Horizon really just playing for practice at this point, and taking a game off them again would give them a lot of confidence coming into the season. But of course, Horizon, after that game one, went from so good to so bad for themselves. It's going to be hard to bounce back mentally, perhaps, especially since they know there's no competition.
Yeah, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're actually going to head to a short ad read, so why don't we show you a word from our friends over at Sector 6.
Started with a vision of quality, a vision of uniformity. We took the time to create something familiar yet refreshing, something with a bit of change.
Designed to fit any brand's unique vision.
sorry, it appears that there was an audio issue. I believe the stream can hear me now. Sorry about that. Anti-production. I am Hypertension here with Rebel Fox for the game between 100 Thieves, NEXT, and Horizon Esports. And I actually really like that intro. Dang it.
Happens. Yeah, it was the
Yeah,
first. It was the first. It was the first time. Maybe we can cut back. We get a replay of your initial one. We can look back at it earlier in the game.
I did what I think a lot of Twitch chat wanted me to do about 20 minutes ago, and I accidentally muted my mic.
I see.
So yeah, with that in mind, looking at that last game, I think that really was a game where we can look at it as the early game being won by the composition and execution of Horizon, but the mid to late won by the teamwork and the sheer skill of 100 Thieves.
This is the fear that you always have. I always call it something along the line. It's like if you watch LEC, especially a few seasons ago, if you watch G2 play, it felt like no matter how good a team was, no matter how good the execution was, no matter what they were doing to win, if you made mistakes, G2 took it with the ball rolling and immediately won the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like in 100 Thieves. So, Horizon has to come out and play a flawless game in order to win. Didn't make it happen this one. They obviously showed that they could do the first 15 minutes. We both were able to see that, but it's about getting the next step, stepping into the gold, acquisition, stepping into the neutral objective zone that they really had to start to control.
Yeah, and I would really like to see like how these teams manage to adapt in this game. Particularly, I feel like both coaches are going to be looking at it's like, okay, going back to the drawing board. Here is our plan for this game. I want to see what Horizon have planned when they are on the blue side, because they did have such a well thought out, well crafted plan. It just fell apart in the mid game when it got put into the hand of the players. But I want to see what this is. This has actually become a very exciting team for me. I mean, this group, people say this is the group of 100 Thieves NXT. Horizon are probably the next most exciting team to watch, without a question.
Yeah, they're really, really good in what we've seen them do for the last part of it. I think the jungler in this game also, it took a lot of effort on his part on the side of Horizon. I can't actually read what I wrote because my handwriting is horrible, so I don't remember his name off the top of my head. But he had to play absolutely phenomenally just to keep that early game afloat, and that might have been part of it. Was his excellent execution and pathing early on helped kind of bolster and just keep this early game afloat so they could look so good. Maybe in a second game, if he doesn't have that same level of perfection in his play, it might look very different, and 100 Thieves could just run away with it.
Yes, they can. I mean, remember, guys, this is the team that everybody has predicted from the start to make it very deep into the playoffs, if not win the whole thing. This is one of the reasons, one of the matchups I most want to see in the playoffs. I want to see 100 Thieves NXT versus Orgless. I want to see the reigning champions versus the LCS third team. I want it so damn bad.
It will be interesting to watch. I think we should probably give an update on this. We talked about Supernova earlier tonight. They lost their first game up against Issue is Critical, which means that in order for them to go to playoffs or even force a tie, I believe is the best they can do, they have to win the series against Issue is Critical. And GVU has yet to win a game, has to take a win over the counterpart in this week. And that's the win for them is out of their hands.
And we do have an update that Grandview University did lose game one. So right now, Supernova needs Grandview to win their second game, the first game that they actually would have won the split, to do it. But we are into draft now, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Syndra, Lee Sin, Ornn, and the Senna band away. 100 Thieves, they pick the Ornn. They don't want to play against it.
No, they do not. Not willing to give that one up first overall. We saw that last game from 100 Thieves. Were able to pick that one up for themselves on the blue side. You have to imagine it's a red vibe pretty permanent fan. Syndra, Lee Sin taken off the board. I want to see how similar that was to the last game. Yeah, Syndra and Lee were both taken out last game. Thresh would be the other ban. They're going back to what we saw last time. I would also say Yuumi from 100 Thieves is something I would expect to stand out here because, again, they don't play it that well, and it was banned out last game. So I would expect that to come through again, barring anything.
Yeah, and with that Thresh, followed by the Aphelios, 100 Thieves do not want to mess with the weapon of the faithful once again, but instead they are going to be fighting the boss, Set. My favorite champion to cast because, God, his abilities are so fun to say.
They're very satisfying 100% for casters
Oh, yeah.
to look at and to say. I'm curious, the Yuumi slipped through again, and I don't know that 100 Thieves is willing to prioritize that. They could go the Ezreal Yuumi, something along those lines, but I don't know how much they play that. Gragas looks like a priority. If they let Yuumi slip through here, you're giving set Yuumi over to Horizon, which actually might be a very bad recipe for success if 100 Thieves doesn't have a counter pick readily available for Yuumi in that bot lane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as you said, if that Yuumi is picked up here, it could be very interesting, but instead it will be the misfortune for Otto. He popped off on that last game on it. Again, he shut me up for 5 seconds. That's something nobody can do. And he performed like a god on it. I loved watching that misfortune work, and picking this again, I don't really see a downside here.
No, I don't. Oh, actually, the Xayah last second, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but certainly clicking to that one. I'm curious here if Horizon is willing to run something like Ballista in the bot lane, because again, against Xayah now, if you have that level 6 advantage, or even if the ultimate just gets burned from Xayah, you can get very aggressive. Ballista wins that early game constantly. Doesn't fit perfectly with the Yuumi is the one issue, so if you go Yuumi, don't expect to see Ballista, but otherwise, I think Ballista could fit very well into what Horizon's trying here.
Yeah, and with 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, I bet you... Yes, okay, they barely got it in. I know the Pro Draft occasionally does, make you lock in a little bit early, or else it'll just randomly assign you a pick. It looks like they did get the Ezreal in time, so that leads me to believe that it will be the Ezreal Yuumi, as you said.
They could also take Rakan here as a way to deny the Xayah Rakan pairing. I don't know that it's worth it to give up Yuumi here just for the takeaway of Rakan from Xayah Rakan. I don't find that duo to be specifically strong compared to anything else. Buying more time, yeah, they're going to...
Yeah, Ezreal Yuumi here. Now, there was an interaction with Xayah Yuumi where they both become untargetable for a moment, so you can actually use that in the middle of the cast animation for the set ult to make sure no one gets hit with the set ult.
Jeez, that would just be wild to watch. I can't even imagine what that looks like. I'm curious if Rakan comes out here, or if they have a support pick that can potentially
very
counter
sketchy.
Nautilus looks like it's grab. Yeah, it's going to be the Nautilus.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, once again, that Nautilus being locked in. This is the game where, like, again, if 100 Thieves win this, they secure first overall place in the graphic. They will face the lowest seed playoff team, who at the moment, I would imagine, is either going to be the team out of the Cloud division between Vegas Inferno and First Blood Crusade, or the second seed from the Mountain division, most likely being Supernova Slammers with their win over, with their first game win over GVU, and Supernova forcing a tie, being reliant on GVU picking up their first game of the season.
That they are. Forward on that one. Echo banned out in this game, not willing to give it over to Horizon. Fiora is the ban, actually misses that ban. Not sure if we have an update on what that's going to be in the end, but the Echo being banned out definitively.
Yep, we're going to wait on production to find out what that ban is going to be for us here, but that will be the Ornn and the Echo banned out by the side of 100 Thieves NEXT. Again, issues with Pro Draft, it happens. We're going to count that ban as whatever they intended it to be. We're going to find out what it is. Instead, it is going to be the Zoe locked in here for the side of 100 Thieves.
Not shocking. I'm a little surprised. I'm assuming they might imagine that Set could be flexed into either the jungle or the mid lane. It's a little bit worse in the jungle after a lot of the changes because they took a lot of his base armor out, but it's certainly not unplayable in the jungle. Still really strong for the reasons it was strong before. Just a little bit of that sustainability in your first clear, a little bit worse. So picking the Zoe here is probably just the ability to A, get a champion they love to play with Poppy. Poppy's an amazing Zoe player, but also because they don't want the flexibility to come through.
Yeah, and it appears they are trying to find out what that ban is right now. The Aatrox is the next pick for Horizon Esports, undefeated one. I believe that's one of his favorite champions. It was banned out last game by 100 Thieves NEXT, so I am very excited to see him on that champion, but it does give Tenacity the counter pick. This is the man who you don't want to give the counter pick.
Ziggs could be a grab. That would be an interesting... Okay, that's a throwback. Copy played that before.
Okay.
I believe he played it in the last time that they played 100 Thieves in the game that they almost lost. Copy did amazing on the champion, so throwback to that. Good, strong champion right now in the meta. On the other side, 100 Thieves. Talk about what's good in the Aatrox. You could do something like GP to scale. You could do something like Lucian. Would be an interesting pickup and just to be able to abuse the Aatrox. I'm curious if Tryndamere gets picked up here because I think he's been practicing it. I don't know if they want to give away that strategy yet.
If I see a Tryndamere, I would be stunned. But a Riven, I like this if they lock it in here. It is going to be the Riven for Tenacity, as that last ban was a Fiora. I am very excited to see this matchup here because this this is one of those champions where you can really show how skilled you are as a mechanical player. Tenacity is incredibly mechanically skilled, so this should be a great show to watch in this top lane.
That is correct. Not to mention, again, that set, I like the way that 100 Thieves were able to predict the set was going to be flexed somewhere other than that top position. They didn't just commit immediately to the top counter pick, instead of opting themselves to give themselves a stronger champion for mid lane and then getting that counter pick, of course, the Riven in this case. Really nice. Very interested for that. I think the Aatrox matchup's pretty good for Riven. I don't know. The sustain certainly something difficult to run with, but happy to
If
see
I'm
that one.
not mistaken, it is one of the go-to counter picks for Aatrox, just because of the fact that having him be able to be locked down, and then also the execute on the runic blade. Broken Wings is the ultimate. Yeah. With the Broken Wings, you actually cut down the Aatrox below that execute threshold, and if I'm not mistaken, in lane, it also is one of those champions that can out mobility him. So it can actually control the laning phase as well. I could be completely mistaken and just talking out of my butt. It doesn't look like I'm talking out of it right now, but hey, we never know.
Like I would assume the reason why Riven is pretty good is because you have instantaneous CC in your W, and as you said, that mobility with E makes it so hard for Aatrox to try to put out damage outside of just the big auto attack, and his sustain doesn't come through until much later in the laning phase. Usually it's the level 6, sometimes the level 11, depending on when you finish your Death Dance, that he can really start to sustain through fights. So I think Riven does have that definitive advantage early on because earlier access to the damage loaded into our auto attacks. The rest of the map feels pretty good too. I mean, you got Zoe into Ziggs. Ziggs can abuse a Zoe because of that ultimate, being able to predict where you're going to go. But of course, a bubble going onto Ziggs is basically a death ward because he is really, really squishy, and Zoe can get onto his Ziggs with that long range paddle star as well.
Yeah, and I think he's not even the only one there, because like if the Ezreal gets hit by the Sleepy Trouble bubble before while the Arcade Shift is on cooldown, that's a very easy kill, because Ezreal does have one of the lower HP totals of any bottom laner, and even if you hit up the heal from the Yuumi, a lot of the times that Zoe damage will still be enough via something like a Electrocute or Dark Harvest, depending on which one he goes, that it will still kill through the Yuumi heal.
In a game like this, I want to make this a very like pertinent fact, is that sometimes this game you have to make adaptations on the fly to what your build would be. 90% of the time you're going to go Thieves first on Yuumi just because it's such a strong item. In this game, I think it's better to go Mikhail's. It gives you better healing because it gives more bonus healing than any of the other items that were built out of the Fairy Charm items. I don't know exactly what they're called, but it gives better bonus healing for that, and allows you to deny the CC from Nautilus, from Xayah, from Zoe should it come through, or even the Riven if she's able to get on top of the Ezreal. In my mind, it's super valuable early on in the game for the Yuumi, rather than having that Athene's that's really only more for that additional health pool, because you have such snap engage and such high burst damage from 100 Thieves.
Yes, you really do. And that is a situation that I think will be very pivotal come the mid to late game. As we saw in the last game, 100 Thieves have a great mid to late game. And when you start to have that sort of massive amount of CC with the Riven, the Zoe, when you have the Nautilus, I just totally forgot who they picked in the jungle. Let me double check. I had the pro draft still up. It is a Gragas. That is so much CC from the side of 100 Thieves. Don't laugh at me, man. That it can be very hard for someone like a Ziggs to even exist on Summoner's Rift, because he is very susceptible to that CC.
Absolutely. I really like also Horizon has they've given themselves a similar composition to last game because they've got Aatrox and Set to try to deny forward pressure from Riven, from Nautilus, from Gragas, or even from Zoe in that particular case, because you have a ton of Ezreal poke, Yuumi poke, Ziggs poke. So again, Horizon doesn't necessarily want to be playing super aggressive and going in with Aatrox or Set. They just want to be able to counteract what the pressure comes through from 100 Thieves is. And especially with all this poke damage, they want to set up around objectives ahead of time. So you want to be the first ones to drag into Baron and then fight out of the pit instead of having to fight in.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Horizon have a great siege composition. But do you remember the triangle theory?
The triangle theory. It's something you made up, and I'm assuming you're going to tell us all anyway.
Why would you assume that I make this up?
You make most things up.
I don't. What the hell, man?
Didn't you just tell us? Didn't you just tell us that you made up a turn of phrase in the right when we were off camera?
No, I came up with that phrase. And
made it up.
The phrase being that if you cry over spilled milk, you just make two messes. That phrase is awesome, and I'm keeping
you made
it
it up.
No, okay, but something that I'm not making up now. All right, Thank you very much. The triangle theory of League of Legends, kind of like it's based on the triangle theory of boxing, is that poke beats disengage, disengage beats engage, but engage beats poke. And a lot of Siege compositions rely on their poke, rely on their consistent long range DPS. Look at what composition Horizon have. It's a very poke heavy sieging composition where the side of 100 Thieves NXT have a much better engaging composition.
Yeah, you can, like I said, in terms of just like if you're looking at a vacuum when you're looking at things like this, the triangle theory is pretty much always going to hold. But again, I see Horizon and I see Set, who's able to take. I mean, if Gragas gets too aggressive and if Riven gets too aggressive, immediately ults into the back line of the team, and then you don't have your front liner there. They just wasted everything to get on top of everybody. Aatrox's really good buffer zone. You can't run through his Qs. He's relatively bulky, sustains really well with that ultimate on, prevents anybody from coming through. And they're far enough back to where Gragas has to get a fantastic flank angle just to find it. And I think that's going to be some of the problem. That's what Horizon's, again, trying to bank on here, is the fact that they've got a lot of VSC. Also, Ezreal E, Ziggs W gets them out of a lot of sticky situations that other poke mages might actually find themselves in, like as Dareth. So you have some disengage tools from Horizon to work with. I think it's important, again, just to respond to the pressure 100 Thieves is going to put on.
It hurts that you bring up my boy. It
Ooh.
hurts that you bring up my boy Xerath.
Hey, he got a new skin, though.
He got the
Come
skin
on.
I've been waiting for 3 freaking years for him to get. It's about time that you give the champion made of energy a freaking Darkstar skin, Riot. Thanks. But no, he's just not great right now. And as you said, it is better that they do have the Ziggs that can disengage. It is better that they have the Ezreal that has the Arcane Shift. But at the same time, there are so many engage tools. Like a flank from Tenacity into a multi-person Riven stun.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of that ability, actually, for some reason. I'm not sure, but that sounds right.
I know one of her abilities. I just don't know.
It's one of them. Actually, let's look up Riven.
You're welcome to. But yeah, as you're saying, I think also important in this game to watch from 100 Thieves. Getting forward vision, absolutely imperative to their composition, because they can set up Xayah E's, they can set up Nautilus, they can set up Zoe Bubbles, and of course those flanks from Gragas and Riven. That is going to be a big way in that they can tear through a poke composition without worrying about that engage.
Yeah, and also the W is called Key Burst. There is no Sky Strike on it. I believe that is Quinn's ability, but now we are going to actually about. So yeah, now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to give you a word from our sponsors, our amazing sponsors over at Kono. If you're looking to take your game to the next level, it all starts with your peripherals. From keyboards to keycaps, mice, and more, our friends at Kono have got you covered. Kono works with the world's best designers, inventors, and makers to bring you some of the best gaming peripherals around. Kono have been huge supporters of us here at Upsurge for years now and have made generous contributions to our prize pools. If you need a new keyboard, if you need anything else new like a mouse or those keycaps, check out the Hexgear X1 RGB low profile Bluetooth mechanical keyboard. You can use the discount code Upsurge GG both being capitals and the U and Upsurge being capital, for 7% off your first order. For more information, head over to kono.store to check out all they have to offer. That's KONO.store. Kono, discover amazing products. And with that word, we will be back very shortly with Game 2 between 100 Thieves and Horizon Esports. We'll see you then. And that was possibly the shortest delay in the history of delays, ladies and gentlemen. We are here onto Summoner's Rift. It is Game 2 between Horizon Esports and 100 Thieves NXT. You know I'm Hypertension. You know I'm with the fantastic Mr. Rebel Fox. And on the blue side, it is Horizon. On the red is 100 Thieves. Let's get this show on the road.
Absolutely. Going back to 5 point here, making sure there is no nonsense Rift that we've got coming out here. Taking a quick look. I'm perusing through some of the keystones, see if there's anything completely abnormal. I don't see anything in particular. I like the exhaust pickup here from Pluck. Sometimes you go the ignite on that Yuumi if you're expecting a little more aggressive lane. That's not going to come through. Actually, late invade here. Boom. Oh, now it's going to go for the ward. Free 10 gold. Let's go.
Yep, they got it. And right now, one thing I'd like to talk about here before we get into anything serious, that is the ugliest Nautilus skin. I hate World Breaker. I hate World Breaker skins. They are so ugly.
I think some are good. So like this one looks really heavily like an Aztec Nautilus, and I don't know that I like that vibe particularly. But like Hecarim and Trundle, when they have like the bluer skin and they have some of that like Aztec weaponry, I think that's pretty neat. So it's like, to me, it's hit or miss. But that's
Yeah, I really, really hate those World Breaker skins. To me, they are just like the ugliest skin line in the game, being like the Hecarim, the Trundle, the Nautilus. It's just so damn ugly.
Oh lord! Just wait till they cancel Dark Cosmic.
They're not going to, but now, oh no, wait, as we get a
Is this debug?
no, this is the Matrix. We're in the Matrix.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently, guys, we're in the Matrix. So wait, am I Mr. Smith and you Neo? I'll take being Mr. Smith.
You can be Mr. Smith if you want. Yeah, it looks like it unfroze.
Yeah, it looks like it has unfroze here. We'll see if we can get back in just in time. Apparently, there are no kills or anything that came out of it. Rito, please.
Yeah, I seem to recall actually this weekend it was an LCS or an LEC game that the same bug happened. They actually had to completely chrono break the game as well, so thankfully that didn't happen to us. We don't have that capability here. Would have to redo draft from the start pretty much. But yeah, really like we were able to get back into this one. Thankfully, the observer is absolutely patient, gets us through this little break, and nothing lost. Just a few seconds to observe those champions in their primal state.
Yeah, and apparently it happened, I want to say twice this weekend in LCS. I'm pretty sure one of them was the Team Liquid game, but yeah, I hope that bug gets fixed.
You would like to just be frozen there for a few seconds? Every once in a while? No? Alright.
I mean, if I wanted to be frozen, I would just play against Sejuani, Ashe, Braum, Lissandra, and trying to think of a good ice top laner. I would say, I guess you could do a Nivea top lane? No, Lissandra top lane and mid lane Anivia. There you go.
Braum. Top lane Braum. On hit top lane Braum. That's what we're gonna say.
No.
Actually,
get out of here.
Keep your eye.
Braum.
Keep your eye on Copy. He's actually roaming up very early on here to support his top laner up against Undefeated 1.
Yeah, here we go. Undefeated 1 in a lot of trouble. That's actually 3 members up here now. If he wants to turn, he'll actually have damage, but he does not. Instead, Tenacity takes him down. First blood for the 100 Thieves NEXT top laner.
Where's the flash? Undefeated 1 had the flash. I think he might have been able to get out of that one. But again, very early on, this time Kenvi and Copy, both spending resources, both spending time, trying to get up to that top lane as best as possible to support this Griffin matchup in Aatrox. The flash had already been burnt by Tenacity to make sure that he couldn't get out of that one, and no flash from Aatrox to Dad.
Yeah, and it looks like River are having an issue with replay, so we'll take a look at that when we get an opportunity. But one thing I'd like to point out is, as you said, he did keep the flash, though, so he has it for the next fight.
I think he does.
Which is right now, it looks like, because that's going to be some engaging in the top lane. These two do not want to stop fighting.
No, he does not. Looks like Tenacity was trying to push that wave in and wasn't able to catch it fast enough. Actually, a pause now going to send us in a little bit of a tear here.
Yeah, and also, one thing about that flash, I think it was a good thing to save it, because we forgot that there was a Zoe there. The slight replay at the bottom reminded me there's a Zoe there, so she could have actually picked up the flash after using the flash of her own to secure the kill onto the Aatrox.
That's true. In fairness, she was a little ways away. I don't know that he would have been able to close that distance even with the flash, or at least it would have put him at risk for dying under tower. But yeah, saving the flash, obviously just thinking he would die, going to go down there. The other thing, wasn't able to get the wave crashed from the side of Tenacity. He already required 2 members, burnt his flash, and he's down now a fair amount of minions to everything that's come through. Built that Executioners first as the defense against the sustain that Aatrox brings. So the early laning phase actually doesn't look fantastic from Tenacity the way that we've seen it. It required a lot of people to support him. I think if that pure 1v1, he actually loses that pretty easily.
Yeah, and we're going to get back in the game as soon as this pause does go through. But as you said, the Executioner's Culling build, it's more to stop the utility that Aatrox can have in terms of the healing rather than for the lane. If he was going for the lane, he would try to build into that Tiamat first because that is the go-to item for dealing out early damage. And it looks like that there is going to be another gank here as the set is roaming up. I'll say Set really doesn't have a lot of early ganking tools. Even when he does hit 6, the Showstopper is not a great ganking tool.
Yeah, I Personally, I've seen a lot of different ways that Sec can kind of counter the mobility in the jungle. I've seen the Nimbus Cloak where you go blue spite, and that's a really, really great way to get onto people. The other thing is, like, I've seen Predator before as a workaround to it. I think it takes away a lot of your dueling strength, which is truly why you would play Set jungle as something like a dueler where you go in and hunt the other jungler down rather than a pure ganker. But certainly if you want to gank lanes instead, Predator might be an option. But in this one, taking that Conqueror means he wants to be in the face of 10v. He wants to be able to fight all the time in the river if he can.
Yeah, and right now, Kenvi is spending so much time up here.
Oh.
He's going to get there, but now with Undefeated 1 escaping the gank, that's actually just going to be so much time for Stone Whippin to get ahead here in terms of CS, whereas Kenvi soaked up XP from Tenacity. So overall, just a massive loss here for 100 Thieves in terms of top lane momentum.
Yeah, he does. Raptor Camp was already down, so it's not going to respawn quite yet. It's going to bounce back up towards the top side. So it's a little bit of strange pathing here. Been set up here for Gone Within or Stone Within, just not able to get that perfect for himself. As you said, a lot of the damage. So, interesting though, they put more resources into Undefeated 1. Undefeated 1's still not going down, still not burning the flash, even after all these things, and he's up 16 CS. So even with the kill over to Tenacity, I have to think the gold is relatively even. Undefeated 1's feeling really, really unmovable on the Aatrox despite all the pressure they put down.
Yeah, and as we're going to try and see if we can get the gold on the screen to test out if your theory holds true. Looking at the other lanes, I imagine that Otto is going to be ahead in gold. Yes, he is. And as you said, the gold is about even. There's 140 gold lead in favor of Tenacity. And across the rest of the lanes, again, it's nothing really enough to consider significant.
Something to notice also, Boom actually goes for the, I'm trying to think what it's called, the futures market, where you're able to get some gold value. I want to see how he uses this rune, because again, I think it's very imperative. Very hard rune to utilize perfectly. He used it very early in this game, which is not typically optimal. You usually want to wait for a few key spikes. Basically, what you want is you want somewhere in the room to 100 to 150 gold, and then a 200, then 250, and wait for those spikes, and then utilize them as fast as possible so you can minimize the amount of gold you're paying afterwards. So it's basically like some people save a bunch and then use it once and think that's optimal. Some people use it all the time and think it's optimal. You actually have to use it at very key moments in the game, which makes it a very mathematical rune. Using it this early, I don't think was absolutely pivotal for Boom, but if you used it to try to get onto Gargoyle Stoneplate, that would absolutely be the place where you'd use it.
Yeah, I actually didn't even know about that with Futures Market here, but it does look like the bottom side for 100 Thieves NEXT, it is going to be the Dragon take here.
It will really dragging control for themselves. Pretty nice can be. They have the bot lane pushing because again, the Ezreal Yumi, pretty poke oriented, pretty safe, but obviously not going to have much pushing pressure, not going to have much pressure in general. And then the mid lane, it's kind of back and forth at this point. iStupid with the blue buff should be able to outpush the Zoe, but certainly going to be a little bit until that comes through absolutely. Yeah,
and now looking at it, the looks like the Infernal, as you said, was picked up. Copy, that is actually a very powerful spell to have stolen here. The heal can create situations for the Zoe where she can fight in places that she otherwise just simply would not.
And pretty nice for him in that mid lane to be able to get a lot of those flanks and a lot of those bubbles out to unique areas. Why, like I said, it's super imperative for them to get forward vision and also to deny vision here from the side of Horizon, because if Horizon doesn't have defensive vision or offensive vision for the most part, they can't really find Copy, and then you have to be afraid of that pure pick potential from the Zoe, killing off either Ezreal or Yumi or basically anybody pretty much on the side of Horizon.
Yeah, and that Ezreal in particular, you need to keep him alive. In terms of late game damage, the Ziggs is okay. He's not a great like team fight winning super carry in the late game.
Wow.
Ezreal can be.
I'm gonna disrespect my boy Ziggs like that. Jeez.
It's a Ziggs. He's a Yordle. He doesn't matter.
Yeah, you have some mighty fine opinions on champions.
Okay, so for those of you in chat that don't know, if you ever look on Reddit and you see a lore power levels analysis, that's me here. And the majority of Yordles are in the bottom tier. The only ones that aren't are Lulu, Vigar, and Heimerdinger. Heimerdinger, because of the fact that that rocket thing is actually fused to his freaking skull. That's commitment, ladies and gentlemen.
That is. You can talk about the power levels of the lower power levels of Yordle. We see the Rift Herald, of course, taking over here. This is bad. Okay.
Oh, that's actually still a lockdown coming through. The last chapter is going to be popped onto Poom, who sends out the depth charge in response. But again, no kills come out of that fight.
Nothing able. Cleanse, not a flash burn by Stupid. Really like that one. Not going to get hooked and burn because of the roam from Yumi exclusively. No Ezreal there, so really, really like that rotation from Horizon, reading the play from the Nautilus very, very quickly. And appreciate that one. The Rift Herald, of course, again, went over to Kenvi. He has that one in his inventory. My question is, where is he going to put it down at in order to take full advantage of it? I would have to say bot lane might be a great place for it, and they're already down to, I believe, 3 plates. Just one more, and they're able to get the full power just off of that one. Top lane, of course, does give more gold. Would be a good place for advantage sharing if you want the Riven to try to get back into the game from that CS deficit just by throwing that herd.
Yeah, and I believe we're actually having some technical issues on the end of Rebel there. I say he's cutting in and out for me, so we're gonna try and get that handled as soon as possible, ladies and gentlemen. Here, as we see Stonewhippin, he's positioning up for a lane gank, and this would be very dangerous here. I'm not sure what the issue is with the audio, but it looks like instead Tenacity has an issue called Undefeated One's Aatrox with the backup from Stonewhippin. The engage there is going to result in Tenacity having to burn his flash.
Pretty nice. Again, that's the second time that Tenacity's burned his flash just in this laning phase alone. Undefeated One, despite that early pressure that they put onto him, just has not been able to break him. Looking really heavily like an Undefeated One, of course. Again, putting all that pressure topside, revealing the set in that lane, does open this one up for him.
And now this is going to be that first break falling in favor of 100 Thieves. They have firm control of this early game here. 2,000 gold lead. I talk all the time about the significance of a gold lead at certain points in the game, and this is certainly significant at the not even 12-minute mark.
Yeah, 2,000 gold, basically the difference of the entire item at this point. Rather nice. In terms of individual lanes, of course, the Aatrox is going to be able to handle quite a bit when he gets his back off. We'll have more than enough gold to handle what is brought by the Riven, but that bottom side of the map now, especially the Xayah, has a ton of AD. Finishing that Essence Reaver compared to just the Sheen and Tear from the Ezreal means that consistent damage can be way higher.
It absolutely is, as we appear to have partially fixed the audio issue. I can hear my co-caster again, but it's still coming in through a little bit spotty. Right now, in this point in the game, Tenacity, he's down so much CS in this top lane. He's down in tempo. I don't think he's quite down in gold still because of that kill, but damn, is this going to be difficult for him to take himself out of, especially on a Riven, a champion that kind of needs to snowball to have a presence in this game.
Yeah, rather difficult for Tenacity to do that. Also, armor is really, really effective. If you had a Bramble Vest, that'd be a nice way to start. Ooh, in topside by Kenvi once again.
And here we go. The explosive cask is dodged out by the flash from Undefeated One. Tenacity, the pressure is let up a little bit, but here we go. Broken wings into the fight, but there is no Runic Blade to save him. Copy goes in. He goes low. He does not quite go down, as that is going to be the ult there. The last chapter will actually lock him down, but here comes the feathers. Otto, once again, saving the life of his team.
Just too powerful. Again, that early advantage that's been gained by Otto. Actually, we're not done yet.
Here we go. Kenvi goes low. Kenvi goes down. Undefeated One even takes the blue buff.
A rather nice plays across the map. Again, we can take a look on the replay, see exactly how that bot lane one played out. You see the engagement here from Coffee, just trying to find some sort of pick off. Leon not able to get anything. The Ziggs ultimate also missing, but Otto comes in for the cleanup. Again, he has so much gold compared to his ADC counterpart with I believe, the Essence Reaver completed alongside the Berserker Greaves. Fight top lane also looks like it's finally broken apart, but these two blocking away with low health bars.
Yeah, I mean, top lane is basically Fight Club this game. Every single time we look up there, there's something going on, and 9 times out of 10, it's a fight. It's going to be like Tenacity and Undefeated One. Neither one wants to give an edge. They've got the alpha male mentality. It's like, no, this is my lane. No, this is my lane. No, this is my lane.
Pretty sure that if it were Fight Club, we wouldn't be allowed to talk about it, but, I mean, that's my idea. I don't know. Maybe I don't know Fight Club well enough. You can correct me on that one if you want.
I mean...
We've been talking about it an awful lot for Fight Club, if you ask me.
Yeah, we kind of have. Also, it was run by one dude who ended up seeing 2 of himself. Spoiler alert for if you haven't seen Fight Club. It's a 20-year-old movie almost at this point. Go watch it if you haven't. You deserve to get it spoiled.
You deserve to get it. Yeah, I mean, at this point, you haven't seen it. That's going to happen. Nonetheless, I mean, we can take a look at what's happening around the map. Envy still controlling. Rift Herald's going to be coming up soon as well. And it looks like the resets here. They're moving Ezreal Yumi into the mid lane. I actually don't know that I like that too much. It's still Ziggs there, too, so I don't know what their lane assignment is certainly the Ziggs Yumi mid lane feels a lot better for lane pushing to make sure that mid lane shoved in for a contest of the Rift Herald. But Paul's coming out here.
Yeah. As with that pause again, we do see that Asilion and Otto were close enough to basically, like reach out and say it's like, hi. So I would like to see how that develops when we get back. But where do you think is going to be the most impactful situation coming up into this upcoming mid game? Where do you think the next play has to be for these teams?
Aatrox needs to continue to put pressure onto the Riven. He out-team fights her, especially once that Death Stance is done. He has the Black Cleaver now, so when Death Stance is completed, I don't think the 1v1 goes the way of Riven, and I don't think team fighting goes the way of Riven because you just haven't put on the pressure that you needed for tenacity. On the other side of the map, Otto already has a massive advantage for himself, has those 2 kills, a couple of dragons in his back pocket. I think all that needs to be done by 100 Thieves here is they need to set up fights around neutral objectives, specifically the dragon in my mind, if they want to contest it, use their very powerful Xayah, win the fight most of the time because the poke which can't come out. Again, pushing wards forward, though, going to be absolutely imperative for 100 Thieves to make sure this poke composition can't land without being punished.
Yeah, and that's the best way to beat a poke composition is you get vision behind them, and then you
Engage.
set up the flanks from there. You said what?
Engage.
Engage. As we said, it is the triangle theory.
Triangle theory, those are some bendy triangles right there.
What did you just put me say? Triangle theory?
Triangle theory. Like pinched edges. You were like
Triangle
out round
theory.
like the circle theory. Like that.
For those of you who don't know, yes, I know that this is a triangle. It's a joke. I believe it's a SpongeBob parody.
Triangle.
Yeah, no. Just like how we are parodies of casters. Ayo! No, but
Myself, you can't take this criticism.
I'm sorry, what?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. Keep going.
Move your mic closer, man. I can hardly hear you.
Is this close enough? I don't want to be doing that. Yeah.
Get that ASMR voice up in here. But no, back to the game for a second. And for the sides of Horizon, do you think Undefeated One is going to be their win condition here? Or do you think it will end up being the sieging potentially like this composition has?
The way that Undefeated One's been playing is absolutely amazing. Like, he's been doing a phenomenal job on the Aatrox. His job also as the frontliner means that he needs to get in the face of the other team to allow the Ezreal, the Yuumi, anybody else to put damage on them from this poking position from further out than you would want. If you have an incredibly talented Aatrox, especially one that's got a big advantage, Undefeated One's been doing a great job of it, that's all you would need. And then the set's also available again. So the idea here is that set would disengage any pure engage. That's the Gragas, that's the Riven, anyone who jumps in. And then the space is bought for these pushers by Undefeated One. So yes, he's the win condition in that he buys the ability of these poke champions to put their damage down in the fight. And that's going to be the sum total, but it's all going to be based on the space bought by Undefeated One in these fights.
Well said, my friend. And as we are still waiting to see if the pause will end here, not sure what the cause of the pause was or what was or if there's like any time from now. It appears that now production has said that there was a reconnect in the game needed by one of the teams. So he is reconnecting at the moment. We will get back in just a moment. And now looking at it, we talked about the objectives. What else is there to really talk about at this point? We've been going on for quite a little bit.
I would say in terms of just pick potential, I mean, you still have things like Gragas. So these champions get punished very heavily for their positioning here. So again, vision control is very, very pivotal for the side of Horizon in my mind. If you have vision against you, you have to clear it out. You have to do your diligence in order to push it forward. That would be the best way.
Yeah, guys, appears that there is going to be a few more issues. We're going to head to a short break, and we will be right back when the game starts up again. Until then, we will keep you updated.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We finally have an unpause. There is a good reconnect. Plux could not actually get into the game successfully and stay there. Now he is. And I know, like, chat, spam the memes about how you don't need to be able to see your screen to play Yumi, yada yada. You can play it with a coaster, with your feet. You can play it on a second computer at the same time.
Actually, so if I recall, there's a player that got the platinum playing Yumi with his feet while he played ADC.
You are
if I recall, there's a that's crazy. I think, like, not only is the champion that useless, but yeah. So there's the meme.
That useless. I would just say like that brain dead.
Brain dead.
I mean, seriously.
You can use your feet and not do it. Yeah, it'd be pretty crazy. He was a great ADC to be fair. I'm pretty sure he's like a high challenger ADC too, but.
But the fact that he could get away with playing 2 champions at the same time,
yeah,
just shows you like how absurd that champion was on release.
Maybe.
And watch they do the same thing to Fiddlesticks and then Volibear. Oh, and by the way, Katarina's dad or Yasuo's brother, one of two, is going to be the next like release champion.
I'd be excited for that.
No, the entire lore community does not want Yone.
Okay.
We're like, he should stay dead. As now Copy just kills off Undefeated One somehow. What?
Interesting. I don't know how low he was at the time, but I know he got picked off. And we also saw the Rift Herald go the way of 100 Thieves because there was no pressure. Again, the mid lane, Yumi was around, but not really doing anything. The Ziggs is here as well for wave clear, but they weren't able to get the pressure forward enough, fast enough. Again, that rotation, as you were talking about, Copy ends up getting the kill onto Stonewhip. Oh, Stonewhip also DC'd. Okay. This is...
Did he DC again?
They just said that he... Oh, yeah, there he is. Okay, reconnect. Okay, people are reconnecting left and right, but... Okay.
You know, it must just be Horizon's internet. They can't afford, you know, they can't afford Xfinity or Spectrum. They're stuck on that dial-up thing.
They're stuck on... I wouldn't say Spectrum's better than dial-up. I've used Spectrum my whole life. I can't say...
Oh, I have Xfinity with like a gig down, so I'm fine.
Yeah, don't put Spectrum in the same vein as them, most of the time at least.
Yeah, fair enough. But right now, speaking of the same vein, I think we can agree that despite like the statistical best AD carry, I think that we can't exactly put Asilion in the same vein as Otto, because look at this man this far this series. He popped off on the Misfortune. He's already 2-0 on this Xayah, and he's like 55 CS up.
Last game, when they had a setup for the Aphelios in which he was able to actually like kind of thrive, I thought it was a lot more even, but there was a more difficult to like execute team composition behind him. In this one, he has the Ezreal Yumi. Again, not a ton of wave clear, no wave priority whatsoever. You can't really gank the lane because there's not a lot of great setup until level 6 at best. So like, that's part of the reason. I know Asilion definitely could do better. Everybody can always improve at CSing. He's actually that far off the mark of like 10 per minute. But certainly Otto has just been absolutely bodying him on the Xayah in this game, looking like the part of the far dominant ADC. And you're going to see, last game, Aphelios had the advantage, wasn't able to press it super hard, had a couple of really good fights, and then it didn't get anywhere in the later game changes. Now you're going to see Otto with the advantage, and we're going to see how he presses this advantage to win his team the mid game.
Absolutely. We saw how he did it last game. I'm very interested to see how he does it this game. And particularly into this beast that is Undefeated One at the moment. Even though he did still die to the Zoe, who, oh no. Oh, okay, good, cleanse. That means that I Stupid is not going to get popped like a zit today.
Yeah, that cleanse, the only thing that saved him now in 2 separate ganks. But this game is really falling to pieces around the side of Horizon. 100 Thieves, they've just been all over every neutral objective. They're pushing every single tower in the game and somehow still finding picks here and there. I mean, the one kill going to Undefeated One is the one mark on their record, which is a deep invade by Kenji to try to get that blue buff. But there's really been no interaction. You haven't seen iStupid do much. You really haven't seen Asilion do anything in this game. Like, most of them are just kind of drifting by in this game, getting run over. Now it's 4 towers to none, 6,000 gold lead. It just feels like 100 Thieves have absolutely already won the game.
Man, look at Otto. He's just going in. Oh my god, that's so much damage onto him. He has to run away. But overall, I feel like, whereas last game felt like an LPL Fiesta, this game feels like an LCK style game. There's been like next to no kills. It's just been execution by 100 Thieves to take what they need and then run with it. They've taken 4 towers to the 0 of Horizon. There's 4 kills to 1. There is so much gold on their side that they now have a 6,000 gold lead before the 20-minute mark. And that is well beyond the percentage needed to be a significant gold lead.
Is not to mention the Baron coming up when you have this strong of a Xayah early on. Not to mention you've got Riven, you've got Zoe, so you have good damage to put into it. They could look for a relatively early Baron with both crit items and now the crit cloak already completed onto auto if they really, really wanted to. Not to mention that Ocean Drake, the next one is going to be their soul for them, and it's going to be very hard to kill Xayah when she has the sustain from Ocean Soul and the ultimate to keep her alive. You have a team in front of her that can definitely put, oh my apologies, put down some CC in her wake to let Auto just kind of move forward and fight. It's terrifying ideas here. You got to start being more proactive on Horizon. It feels like they definitely need to put some pedal to the metal and try to get something contested. They're very weak right now. They can't just roll over and keep giving things up.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest things about a poke comp, is that you kind of need to be ahead for it to work really, really well. Right now, there's just not enough lead for them. The only place where they have any sort of like gold advantage is in that mid lane, and now here comes the TP from the backside. They're going to try and see if they can get Auto, see if they can get that carry. Kenby and Copy on the flank, though. Auto is being focused super hard, and that's going to be the shutdown off of the bomb from the Ziggs, and now Copy could be in a lot of trouble. He's going to be locked down. That's going to be the exhaust put down on top of him, but he's going to get out. So thus far, it is just a 1-for-1. But look at the bottom side. Tenacity is using this to split push. He takes an inhibitor tower off of that engage.
And a nice aggression, a great TP from Undefeated One, and they're able to split up Auto and Boom, so there's no defense against with the engagement that goes onto Auto. Boom had to walk away to make sure he doesn't get punished alongside, so the 1 kill goes down. That's the main damage source. Copy's in a really rough position now.
Yeah, really rough position indeed is now Copy's gonna get slowed there. The question is, can he escape? The answer is yes, because here comes Tenacity! Takes that Undefeated One, and there's more than one way to skin a cat. Tenacity does it with a big-ass sword!
Oh my goodness. Like I said, it feels so heavily like Horizon are just getting run over in this game. Every time they put on aggression, they're losing something somewhere else. See, probably a little bit, I mean, it's just ridiculous. You see the Baron start up also, and now Xayah's going to be back in the mid lane from Ezreal just to push out the mid wave. They're going to see it with the 3-shot barrage, thankfully.
Yeah, they have the true shot barrage, as you said. I say they do not have the true shot barrage, like you said there, and that is going to be the bomb thrown out. It's going to actually stop the Baron. That's so much damage. Oh my god, Storm Whipping just got destroyed there. The Blade Caller's going to end it. Tenacity, the man on campus, he is still so healthy here. One more dash will actually get him in range for that key burst. Here we go. That key burst is actually going to miss. Asillion's going to live, but the rest of his team overall, that was a 4-for-0 in favor of 100 Thieves.
But it wasn't. If it were for the Iceborne, what if they 5-for-0 here? From the side of Tenacity, you see them start around the Baron buff just for that fight beginning. They're able to turn off that very, very quickly for the engagement.
Why don't we get a quick look at that first fight there? I want to see how that kind of went down. No, actually, instead we're going to get the second fight first off. Look at the damage on a Stone Whipping.
Tons of poke damage onto the entire team of 100 Thieves, but they're able to make this work because of the engagement. And then Copy over the wall nails the Ziggs, and Ziggs has nothing. This Iceborne, of course, slows down Tenacity too far. But again, even with a ton of poke damage put onto the side of 100 Thieves, they weren't able to make it work because they just engaged on. There's too much gold in the pocket to actually Copy Yomi.
I feel like I'm watching Cat evolve again on this Zoe because of just how much I look over and it's just, oh, that person died.
Is always constantly finding the pickoffs, able to get anything that they would like. The Ziggs throws the ultimate, doesn't get anything off the back end of it. And again, it feels so rough right now. You have a lot of gold in the Ziggs. You're starting to get itemization onto your Ezreal, but it feels already like the game might be too late. Just lost the Ocean Drake, going to be coming up here in less than a minute. The resets have come through now from 100 Thieves. All they have to do is push out mid and bot lane. They should be able to get this dragon with relative ease.
8,000 gold lead here for the side of 100 Thieves, actually now up to 8.5. 5 towers to 2, and it's going to keep increasing as Poom takes down Stone Whipping. You step out of place, and there will be a Sleepy Trouble bubble to wreck your crap.
And it will. Again, they're getting pushed off of this one very, very easily. 100 Thieves going to be able to confirm the Ocean Soul almost immediately with
And
no
that's-
return.
And that's just the
Oh!
death blow here. Because as a poke composition, I know that was actually nowhere close, but as a poke composition, there is one soul above all else you don't want to face, and that is the Ocean Soul because of the healing. But right now, Undefeated One doesn't want to face Tenacity, 2 levels up now on this Riven. 3-0-1. What a monster here in this game is now.
Oh.
That's going to be the hook landing. Dredge line gonna catch. I stupid. Auto picks him up. Undefeated One is now in the face of that Nautilus, that 40-foot Goliath here of the seas. And now Auto going on to Stone Limpin as the rest of the team is going to see if they can take down an inhibitor.
Yeah, absolutely pivotal pick here onto the Ziggs means that you lose effectively all of the wave clear you would have had. It's difficult into these minions that get additional magic resist from the Baron buff. Even so, all of your wave clear is basically in the Ziggs at the moment. And so losing that Ziggs means they push in for free and get the middle inhibitor, get this bottom inhibitor also. This is a great way to start. Now all they have to do is push down top lane. They can break all 3 inhibitors in before 30 minutes with only this.
Yeah, and it looks like Plux has left the game again. He was the one having disconnection issues the whole time.
Oh,
Is that a surrender?
Well, actually, yeah, it looks like
That's a
they just left the
surrender!
game, yeah.
We have a surrender on stream, ladies and gentlemen, as the side of Horizon Esports have decided the game is unwinnable here.
It's a shame not to see them just try to, tank it out. I know how desperate that it looked. They had some damage, and they were likely going to lose this one anyway. To forfeit does feel a little bit. They just feel defeated. Let's be real. Horizon came out. They needed to contest. They needed to win game 1 just to kind of contest against 100 Thieves. They came out, had an okay early game, and just got destroyed. And then game 2 feels like they've just been running amok with their heads cut off, getting beaten everywhere on the map, and eventually just takes a toll on your mental. And that's the forfeit. I mean, there's nothing
Immaculate game planning in game 1, game plan falling apart from the opening gate in game 2. Everything went the way of 100 Thieves, and we see why they will enter the playoffs as the #1 overall seed, even over the reigning champions Orglis, who still had that one loss on their record that will put them one singular point below 100 Thieves. And also, we do have a sad update for the first time in a Upsurge Premier League that they have participated in. Supernova have not made the playoffs of the Upsurge Premier League. So
yeah, that's a shame also. Another really talented team. Again, Mountain Division felt like there are so many good players, so many good teams in that one. The surprise of Snowman Slammers actually came out. They were super competitive on their own right. I think that was a little shocking to everybody. But yeah, feels bad to see Supernova, a team with such a lot of their players very, very well known. A lot of the organization, of course, on its own, very well known. It's kind of a shame to see them not make it. But of course, Issues Critical and Snowman Slammers looking great coming into playoffs as well.
Yeah, I very much do like the way that the teams are developed. It isn't the same teams over and over again. It does hurt to lose a team as popular, as well liked historically as Supernova. But at the same time, the surprise story that is Supernova, Snowman Slammers, has actually been a very good thing. I would say that was a group of death, and that was probably the most exciting group to watch of this entire tournament, being the Upsurge Premier League. But now, looking forward towards the playoffs for a moment, moving off of a less sad note, more to a happy note, we can actually give you the standings because they are the same as they were when the stream started here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So if we could get that standings graphic on the screen.
Going to be able to see quite a bit. So we're seeing 100 Thieves next take the #1 seed over Horizon Esports #2 in Ocean. Of course, Issue is Critical won the all-important series up against Supernova, and the Supernova falls down, not even able to compete for a kind of a decider match against Snowman Slammers, just going to lose out, not make the playoffs. Cloud Drake, a new academy, had that one. First Blood Crusade, another really good team, able to secure that one for themselves, and then Orglis winning out in that Infernal group, and then Full Spectrum, of course, taking their set of games as well. Just you have those definitive games. You have really good teams coming into the playoffs. I'm super excited to see some of these organizations fight against one another. Finally get to see some comparisons, things like that.
Particularly, there are a couple matches I'm really excited for. Let me see if I can actually pull off the playoff bracket, see what the first week's matchups are, because I actually have access to those now. Okay, so, that is interesting. I'm going to tell everyone it. Okay, all right, camera guy, it's on me. act like a freaking wrestler here. All right, so the number 1 seed, 100 Thieves NXT will be up against First Blood Crusade. Then there's Issues Critical versus Horizon Esports. It will be a new academy versus Full Spectrum, and Orglis versus versus the Snowman Slammers. All right, so we talked about the surprise story of Snowman Slammers. Yeah, you had a great surprise story. What it earned you is a first round fight against the reigning champions.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. Of course, again, they've looked pretty good. Maybe they can make that challenge against the top team. You've seen Horizon try to challenge them. Maybe Snowman Slammers can come out with something surprising to look at. In my mind, the main matchup to watch in this week 1, a new academy versus Full Spectrum Esports. These two rosters are loaded with talent. Super, super impressive across the entire split. And Infernal, I mean, you're talking Orglis is such a good team. It's hard to get a best read onto Full Spectrum Esports. In my mind, Full Spectrum Esports came in as a team that might have won certain groups depending on how the brackets fell. They are super, super impressive. They're coming in with a star-studded roster up against a new academy who might have. You could make an argument that their bracket wasn't particularly strong all the way through compared to some others. And so a new academy versus Full Spectrum is the one I've got my eyes on.
Yeah, people talked about how, especially with Siberian Weasels, who's Columbia College, basically dipping out halfway through the season, that a new academy were basically handed the group, right? Say against First Blood Crusade and the Vegas Inferno. But now, if you think about how would Full Spectrum do in that group against a revamped Team Fish Taco, then ended up having like I want to say it was Ethug, it was Strumpus. They had like this stacked secondary team. Robert Morris, and they had the reigning champion Orglis in their group. That is a tough group to get out of. I would say after the Mountain group, because of those like 3 potential first place teams, that is probably the strongest thing. So that is probably the strongest group.
Yeah, Infernal felt completely competitive. Could you run through those games one more time? I want to hear what the rest of them were from top. So
Okay,
100
so
Thieves plays.
it is Issues Critical versus Horizon, a new academy versus Full Spectrum, 100 Thieves NXT versus First Blood Crusade. Sorry, Luis, not my fault. And then Orglis versus the Snowman Slammers. I'm so used to saying Supernova in terms of like playoffs that I'm saying it again, and I'm going to say something like Supernova Slammers.
Yeah. It feels like I said, the most competitive of those, of course, is a new versus Full Spectrum. I don't want to say that the rest of them are decided, but we certainly have very strong first teams in the rest of the groups going up against teams that maybe had a couple of those like differences, like Horizon. We're talking, I forget what one of the other teams was called, but certainly against these top tier teams, it's going to be difficult to compete. That's the best part, though, is that now we finally get to see the intersection of these groups against one another. How strong are these number 1 teams? Was 100 Thieves unfallible? Or is it that Horizon just wasn't up to snuff, and maybe some of these other teams are just as good, if not better, than 100 Thieves?
I have something for you.
Sure.
If both of them win, the week 2 playoff matchup is 100 Thieves versus Orglis.
That's the one everyone's watching.
We're streaming that.
We got to stream. Like, that's got to be on
there.
We're
Like, streaming that, guys. I don't care. I'm sorry. Issue is Critical, Horizon, a new and Full Spectrum. Whichever one of you win, or whoever will be in the losers bracket that week. If that matchup occurs, we're streaming it. That is the matchup I think everyone has wanted to see since day one.
I think there's an argument that could be made, and a very strong argument could be made, that these are our top 2 teams. To see them clash in the semifinals is kind of, it's frustrating to be able to do that kind of thing and not have them actually play off to be the best team. But you can't feel bad for them. Again, they get to play off against each other head to head to figure out which one of them is better, and that's going to be very impressive to watch. There's 2 insanely talented teams, and I, for one, can't wait to see them clash head to head.
Yeah. And again, this is if they manage to overcome, because you never know. We've seen massive upsets here in the UPL. Like, holy crap. No one ever expected Supernova to not make it out of a group. That's like a little bit back when when RNG didn't make it out of that group at Worlds. Like, we expected them to come in and win. And that's just an example. Anything can happen in the Upsurge Premier League. Anything can happen in the NA amateur scene, including killing most of the teams. But right now, we're here with that. And Rebel, it's about time to wrap up. But before we wrap up, I just want to give a quick word from our sponsors over at Midwest Esports, right? Midwest Esports has been around for many years, starting as a small student group out of Wichita State University. Since then, they've grown to be a veteran organizer to tournaments and events throughout the United States. They host tournament games like League of Legends. Yes, they are still licensed even after that announcement earlier today. Rocket League, as well as Overwatch. For more information, check them out at midwestesports.com. And remember, guys, yes, they are licensed by Riot, so they are not bound towards that ruling earlier today. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's actually going to be it here for us, the show. That's it for the regular season of the spring split for the UPL. Rebel, how excited are you for playoffs?
I mean, coming into the season, I knew it was going to be an absolute banger of a season. I knew how exciting this was going to be, and like the finish, couple of those games upsetting to see things like Supernova not make it, but it's going to be an exciting playoff. That first round, of course, going to be a defining one for some of these teams, and of course, that semifinals match we already talked about just how good it could be. So, could be more exciting coming into playoffs after an already exciting season.
Yeah, and guys, with that, thank you for joining me on this cast, Rebel Fox. Thank you to our producers from St. Clair University, being awesome at this and giving us this platform to do this on. And thank you to everyone behind the scenes who are helping us out this season and made this possible. Guys, my name is Hypertension. I've been joined here by the Rebel Fox. We'll see you in playoffs. Goodbye and good night.